Chapter 565. Since young Master Wujin is so confident, of course I agree. Yakushima Kufu nodded and said, then let's follow the rules of the martial arts world. We will challenge Xiao Chang. If he loses, he has to help us get the information. Yes, but are you sure that Xiao Chang will be able to get the information? Taoist Lu Li was still a little doubtful. Isn't this the only way? Do you have a better idea? It doesn't matter if he steals or talks to Su Chuxiao or Professor Su. If he can't get it, we won't let him go. What can he do? Kai Wujin smiled indifferently and said, you don't understand the martial arts world. In the martial arts world, strength decides everything. On one hand, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau manages the martial arts world. On the other hand, they don't want to offend the martial arts world too much. They only manage the secular world and ordinary sections. That's true. Young Master Wujin is an inner disciple of the martial arts world. His confidence and knowledge are indeed different. Taoist Lu Li nodded. Alright, since we have decided, let's implement it. Alright, how about this? Taoist Lu Li, you will be in charge of contacting Xiao Chang. Mr. Yakushima, you will be in charge of kidnapping Professor Su's parents. I will be in charge of coordinating. If the Supernatural Investigation Bureau interferes, I will use my identity as an inner disciple of the martial arts world to deter them from interfering, Kai Wujin said to everyone. Everyone nodded and got ready to work. Kai Wujin was actually considered an anomaly in the inner sect of the martial arts world. Inner sect disciples generally did not wander the martial arts world casually, nor did they interfere too much with the affairs of the secular world. Wouldn't that be a mess? However, Kai Wujin was a little special. He was Kai Lehu. Back then, when he was a woodcutter in the inner sect, he accidentally hooked up with a core female disciple. Although the matter was exposed and he was chased down the mountain, the female disciple got pregnant and gave birth to Kai Wujin. Although Kai Wujin had spent most of his life in the sect, he had some contact with the Kai family that Kai Lehu had established in the secular world, which led to the current situation. That female disciple had given Kai Lehu some cultivation resources, allowing him to step into the martial master realm in a few short years and establish the Kai clan. However, Kai Lehu did not dare to be too ostentatious. On one hand, there were problems with his business. On the other hand, he did not want the sect to pay too much attention to him. Therefore, if Kai Wujin were to appear, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be in a difficult position. This was also the reason why the Supernatural Investigation Bureau hadn't made a move on the Kai family previously. It wasn't that Xiao Meng didn't know there was a problem with the Kai family, but he had some concerns. Xiao Chen didn't expect that Taoist Lu Li would react so quickly after he rejected him. In the evening, Taoist Lu Li sent another message to Xiao Chen and said, little friend Xiao Chang, have you seen other people's WeChat moments? I'm not looking. What's wrong? Xiao Chen replied in confusion. He had just returned from Su Chuxiao's house, and they had eaten the delicious food that Taoist Lu Li had given him. It's better to look. You can learn a lot from your WeChat moments. Taoist Lu Li said. Xiao Chen curiously opened Taoist Lu Li's WeChat moments and looked at it. He was shocked to find that Taoist Lu Li had updated a lot of pictures. Looking at the date, it was updated not long ago. The title was, It's a Pleasure to Have Friends Come From Afar. Xiao Chen was stunned and clicked on it. When he looked at the small picture just now, he found that the people in it were very familiar. When he opened it, didn't they look familiar? They were actually Taoist Lu Li and Su Chuxiao's grandparents. The place where they were taking pictures at the moment should be Tianqing Temple. Taoist Lu Li was sitting at a round table with them with a smile, drinking tea, talking and laughing. He took many pictures, but the ultimate goal was to tell Xiao Chen that Grandpa Su and Grandma Su were in their hands. Xiao Chen frowned and took a deep breath. Taoist Lu Li's smiling face made Xiao Chen angry. Damn it, how could he forget about this? They didn't make a move on Su Chuxiao, but they made a move on Su Chuxiao's grandparents. The effect would be the same. He quickly went back and sent a message to Taoist Lu Li. Tell me, what do you want? Ah, the two elders are just guests at Tianqing Temple. Don't be nervous. Taoist Lu Li sent a smiling emoji. *CK off. If you have something to say, just say it. If not, I'll delete it for you. Xiao Chen said. Oh, you're really not afraid? Taoist Lu Li said. Is it okay? Xiao Chen asked. Don't worry. Taoist Lu Li sent another smiling emoji. The other party has activated friend verification. Taoist Lu Li sent another sentence. The other party has activated friend verification. Oh my, you really deleted it, Xiao Bai? Taoist Lu Li was furious. The other party has activated friend verification. Taoist Lu Li had no choice but to add Xiao Chen again. After a while, the verification was approved. Do you have anything else? Oh, I give up. I'm challenging you to a battle at the peak of Azure Mountain. Do you dare to come? If you win, you'll leave with the two elders. If you lose, you have to promise me what I said before. This time Taoist Lu Li was smart. Once he added Lin Fan as a friend, he said this with a beep. Oh, you should have said so earlier. I thought you were a scammer. Xiao Chen said, I'm not going. Let them go now or I'll call the police. It's good that the two elders are here. They came on their own. If you don't believe me, look at the photos. We had a good chat. It's useless for you to call the police. Besides, don't you know the rules of the martial arts world? This is a martial arts competition. Even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau can't do anything about it. You still have to call the police. Taoist Lu Li said with some contempt. Is that so? Do you mean I have to go? Xiao Chen asked. It's up to you whether you want to go or not. Anyway, the two elders are here as guests and waiting for you to take them back. Taoist Lu Li said with a smile. Then they'll stay at your place. There's good food and drinks, Xiao Chen said directly. That's not impossible. It's just that the two elders are getting old. It's inevitable that they're not used to the climate. If they die, don't blame us. Taoist Lu Li said. You dare to kill them? Xiao Chen asked, testing Taoist Lu Li's bottom line. Of course I can't kill people at will. Martial arts people can't kill ordinary people at will. I just said that they died of natural causes. If you don't believe me, you can go to the forensic doctor to do an autopsy. Taoist Lu Li said. You are ruthless. Xiao Chen was a little annoyed. Autopsy? With a master at the level of Taoist Lu Li, it was not difficult to create a natural death without anyone noticing. It was just like how he made the Sun family go on horseback. How about it, Xiao Chang? Are you coming or not? Taoist Lu Li asked proudly. Let me think about it. Xiao Chen didn't delete Taoist Lu Li this time. He wanted to figure out whether what Taoist Lu Li said was true or false. On the other side, after ending the chat with Taoist Lu Li's Weixin, Xiao Chen directly called Song Huawu. Team Leader Yang. Song Huawu picked up the phone. Her performance was very good. Now everyone called Xiao Chen Team Leader Yang. Bring Xia Shibin to my residence. I have something important to discuss with you. As Xiao Chen spoke, he told Song Huawu his address. Okay, Team Leader Yang. We'll be there right away. Song Huawu replied. Half an hour later, Song Huawu and Xia Shibin arrived at Xiao Chen's residence. Xiao Chen let them in and didn't say much. He directly showed them the conversation between him and Taoist Lu Li. This Taoist Lu Li is so despicable. He actually used such a despicable method. Song Huawu said angrily after watching it. I'm afraid the Kai family is behind this. Do you know the Kai family? Xiao Chen asked. You don't know? Yes. Song Huawu slapped her forehead. I forgot that you are not the real team leader Yang. There are some things that I didn't tell you at the time. What the hell is going on? Do you know that the Kai family wants to harm Su Chuxia? Why didn't you take action before? With the ability of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with the Kai family, right? It should be easier to kill the danger in the cradle, right? Xiao Chen asked. This Kai family is a bit special. Our Supernatural Investigation Bureau can't do anything to them. Song Huawu said, Kai Lehu of the Kai family has a special identity. He has some connections with the inner sect of the martial arts world. What is the inner sect of the martial arts world? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. The so-called inner sect of the martial arts world is the real martial arts world. It is different from the current martial arts world. For example, the martial arts world that participated in the Righteous and Demonic Summit. In fact, these martial arts worlds are the martial arts world of the secular world. Their disciples often move about in the secular world, and they also have businesses in the secular world. However, the inner sect is different. These sects rarely appear in the secular world, and our Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't know where their sects are located. We only know that they are in a place called Pugilistic World. It's fine that Kai Lehu has connections with the inner sect, but his eldest son, Kai Wujin, is an inner sect disciple of the martial arts world and has already returned to the Kai family. As she said this, Song Huawu felt a little helpless. She said, Little Meng knew this before, but he couldn't do anything about it. *CK. At this moment, Xiao Chen finally understood why this mission was so complicated. Previously, the deputy leader of Team C couldn't solve it. Logically speaking, ordinary aristocratic families, even the Shen family, were very afraid of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. This Kai family was so bold that they actually dared to do such a thing. Yet, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau only protected Su Chuxia and did not directly arrest her. Now that he thought about it, Yang Jianan was really cunning. He probably already knew the complexity of this mission, so he deliberately went to Songning City to show off and then handed this lousy mission to the deputy leader, Little Meng, who was not on good terms with him. So, Little Meng really messed up this matter and left with his tail between his legs. Chapter 566. Xiao Chen estimated that if it was the real Yang Jianan, even with Xia Zhili's greetings, he probably wouldn't accept this task easily. Maybe he would send Song Huawu directly this time. Only he, the fake Yang Tan, didn't know the truth and accepted the task. Only then did he know that it was a hot potato. This was bad. Xiao Chen could only ask, then what should we do now? Since he laid out the rules of the martial arts world, we can't break it. Even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is not qualified to go against the inner sect of the martial arts world. We can only abide by the rules. When he draws out the rules, we will fight. Song Huawu said helplessly, I guess when we report it, Deputy Director Xia will say the same. Then these inner sect disciples are lawless? Xiao Chen was a little annoyed. Even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau couldn't do it? In his opinion, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau should be a very powerful existence. Sure enough, different positions led to different perspectives. In the past, martial artists were rare in Songning City. After coming to Lan City and joining the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he found that martial artists were actually not so rare. You can't say that. After all, many inner sect disciples don't come out. These years, it's rare to hear of inner sect disciples doing evil, or we don't know about it, and the matter hasn't been blown out of proportion. There aren't many unscrupulous people like Kai Wujin. Maybe his identity is different, Song Huawu said. In any case, let's report the situation to Xia Zhili first and ask him what to do. Xiao Chen had no choice. Since the Kai family was so powerful, he could only talk to Xia Zhili first. However, he was not afraid. If he really fought with the Kai family, he would fight to the death. Anyway, the blame would be on Yang Tan. When he ran away, it would have nothing to do with him, and Yang Tan and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be in trouble. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen dialed Xia Zhili's number. This time he directly chose a video call. Anyway, he was wearing a mask, so he was not afraid of being seen. Song Huawu's guess was right. As expected, Xia Zhili fell silent upon hearing Xiao Chen's report. After a moment of silence, he chuckled and said, Ha Jianan, I have high hopes for you. I know that you'll be able to resolve this matter. You should go and take a look first. If you can't defeat them, just run. In any case, it's impossible for you to hand over the information. Xiao Chen secretly cursed at this old thing for being so insidious. He had pushed all the blame away. If anything were to happen, it would be Yang Tan's fault. It would be fake to say that he had wronged him. Sure enough, interests were not reliable. However, he still said, Okay, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, don't worry. I will act according to the situation. And if this matter is done well, I will apply for more cultivation resources for you. Xia Zhili said, Do it well, I have high hopes for you. Thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, for your guidance. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. It seemed that he had no choice but to go. Xiao Chen was a warm-hearted person. If Su Chuxia had no relationship with him, it would have been fine. Now, he had a good relationship with Su Chuxia, and he had even met the two elders of the Su family. He had a good impression of her, so he had to save her. Team Leader Yang, what should we do now? Song Huawu asked after Xiao Chen hung up the phone. What else can we do? Xiao Chen shrugged. When the time came, they could only go up the mountain to fight. They wouldn't be able to escape. However, the two of them were too weak, so they could only be helpers. Song Huawu and Xia Shibi nodded. Obviously, they knew that their strength was insufficient. However, I'm alone. They must have made full preparations. I have to call for help. Xiao Chen thought about it. Who should he look for? Platon? That was a good candidate. Who else? It would be good if he could contact Grandma Nanshan. Now, Xiao Chen felt that Grandma Nanshan should be someone from the inner sect of the martial arts world. Although she didn't say it in detail at the time, after listening to Song Huawu's explanation, Xiao Chen had some doubts. If Grandma Nanshan appeared, then killing Taoist Luli should be easy and pleasant. Most importantly, she still owed him a lot of spirit jades. Not to mention asking for her help. Also, Wang Fantian. Xiao Chen felt that Wang Fantian was not bad. Although this person was not a true martial arts master, he was extremely strong and could fight like a tiger. He should be a good candidate. Thinking of this, Xiao Qin directly sent a message to Wang Fantian and said, "Fight, do you want to go?" "Yes, with whom?" Wang Fantian quickly replied. "Daoist Lu Li, the Kai family and a few ninjas." Xiao Qin said, "Do you dare?" The Kai family is related to the inner sect of the martial arts world. Do you know the inner sect? Xiao Qin couldn't trick Wang Fantian. He had to clarify the stakes first. "Kill him," Wang Fantian replied directly. Wang Fangtian replied directly. Obviously, he didn't care where the Kai family came from, and he didn't ask for the reason. Xiao Qin looked at Wang Fantian's message and felt his blood boil. It was as if he had returned to the feeling of the past. This was a good brother? "All right, then I'll call you," Xiao Qin said. "No problem," Wang Fantian replied. After selecting the people on his side, Xiao Qin directly replied to Daoist Lu Lian Weixin. "When do you want to fight? Do you want a group battle or a one-on-one duel?" "Of course it's a group battle," Daoist Lu Li said without thinking. They would have an advantage if they formed a group. It would be difficult for them to be Xiao Chang's opponent in a one-on-one duel. This kid had some tricks up his sleeve. "Oh, that's fine. Time and place." Xiao Qin guessed that it was a group battle. Otherwise he wouldn't have recruited people. "Tomorrow afternoon, Tianqing Mountains, Tianqing Monastery. Do you dare to come?" Daoist Lu Li asked. "Isn't it obvious that you're asking this? If I don't come, I'll be talking nonsense with you." Xiao Qin said, "All right, just wait for your death. Even if you don't die, you'll be crippled." "Haha, I'll be waiting." Daoist Lu Li was not angry. After settling this, Xiao Qin said to Song Huawu and Xia Shibin, "Tomorrow afternoon we'll go to Tianqing Mountain. Get ready and bring your guns. If you can't do it, shoot them a few times. Damn it, we can't kill them." "All right." Song Huawu nodded speechlessly. She felt that ever since Xiao Qin pretended to be Yang Tan, he had become as shameless as Yang Tan. Of course we have to bring them. Otherwise we really can't control these martial artists." Xia Shibin laughed. He was very supportive of this point. "Do you have rocket launchers? Anti-aircraft cannons?" Xiao Qin asked. "I brought some." "I don't think so." Song Huawu shook her head. "We're field agents, not special forces. We don't have those kinds of equipment." "All right." Xiao Qin thought about it. It was a little too ostentatious to use those things in the scenic area. It was not like they were filming a blockbuster. "All right, you two go back and get ready. Gather at the entrance of New Moon College tomorrow afternoon," Xiao Qin said. Since they were already in battle, Xiao Qin was not afraid of exposing anything. Anyway, it did not matter if the other party knew that he was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Success or failure depended on this. Song Huawu and Xia Shibin said goodbye. Meanwhile, Xiao Qin called Su Chuxia. "Ah, Xiao Chang, it's so late. What's the matter?" Su Chuxia had already fallen asleep. She picked up the phone in a daze. Tian Wangshuo, who was beside her, also woke up and stared at Su Chuxia. "It's Xiao Chang. Why didn't he call me? I'm his girlfriend." Tian Wangshuo complained with some dissatisfaction. Su Chuxia ignored her. Xiao Chang must have something to do if he called her so late at night, so she was much more awake. "I'll forward you a message from Weixin. Don't get angry after you read it. Don't worry. I'll rescue them tomorrow," Xiao Qin said. "Okay. Who are you rescuing?" An ominous premonition surged in Su Chuxia's heart. "You'll know when you see it," Xiao Qin said as he sent the message to Su Chuxia. A notification came from Su Chuxia's side. Su Chuxia opened it eagerly. Her expression suddenly changed. Daoist Lu Li was with her grandparents. Su Chuxia quickly picked up the phone again. "Xiao Chang, they kidnapped my grandparents?" "Yes, but I'll meet them tomorrow," Xiao Qin said. "Ah, then I'll go with you," Su Chuxia said anxiously. "You can go too." Xiao Qin thought about it and agreed. Daoist Lu Li couldn't do anything to the bystanders, right? When the time came, he would definitely have to follow the rules. If he didn't follow the rules of the martial arts world, he wouldn't be trustworthy. He wouldn't need to challenge Xiao Qin. He could just use the two hostages to force Xiao Qin. "Okay, then Wangshuo and I will go and cheer for you," Su Chuxia said. After hanging up the phone, Tian Wangshuo quickly asked, "Chuxia, what's wrong? Did your grandparents get kidnapped by Daoist Lu Li?" "Yes, Xiao Chang will rescue them tomorrow. We'll go and cheer too," Su Chuxia said. Okay. Tian Wangshuo nodded. "Okay." Su Chuxia put down her phone and lay down, but she was still very worried. In a daze, the two of them chatted for a while before falling asleep. Xiao Qin cultivated for a night, but he didn't make any progress. He didn't know what Grandma Nanshan was doing, and she didn't even give him the spirit jade. There was no conversation in the morning. At noon, Wang Fantian came to find Xiao Qin. He was wearing casual clothes. When he saw Xiao Qin, he smiled. "Boss, when are we going?" "Waiting for two people," Xiao Qin said. "Xiao Chang, I thought you didn't know him? How did he become your underling?" Tian Wangshu was a little puzzled. "I have a mission, so I can't recognize him." Xiao Qin said, "But if we go to fight now, we have to bring someone along." "I see. I knew it. Then the name you used for the mission was Xiao Qin?" Tian Wangshu nodded. "You can say that." Xiao Qin didn't answer directly. As they were talking, Song Huawu and Xia Shibin drove over. When Xiao Qin saw them, he said to Tian Wangshu and Su Chuxia, "Let's get in the car too. They're here." As he spoke, Xiao Qin got into the Jetta. Wang Fantian sat in the front passenger seat, and the two girls sat in the back seat. The two cars, one in front and one behind, sped toward the direction of Azure Mountain. Chapter 567. The Azure Mountain in December was extremely cold. The mountain was sealed today and there were no tourists. The car was stopped at the foot of the mountain, but the car of Xiao Qin and the others was allowed to pass. The Taoist guarding was the disciple named Emoji that Xiao Qin met last time. "Xiao Shanren, you are here? Master has been waiting on the mountain for a long time," Emoji said with a smile. "Don't talk nonsense with me. Lead the way." Xiao Qin said directly. "Yes." Emoji wanted to get in the car, but when he looked, he realized that there was no place to sit in the car. It was not good for him to squeeze into the back seat with the two girls. He turned his head to look at the second car. Song Huawu drove a sports car today. There were only two seats and there was no room for a third person to sit. "Where should I sit?" Emoji asked. You still want to take the car? You can run with the car." After Xiao Qin finished speaking, he started the car, leaving behind a trail of smoke. Song Huawu also drove past, and Emoji choked on the exhaust. He couldn't help but be annoyed. "Let's see how Master will deal with you later." When the car couldn't go any higher, Xiao Qin parked the car in the parking lot, but he didn't see Taoist Lu Li and the others. He couldn't help but be a little impatient. Are these guys not here yet? So he sat in the car and waited. After a while, Emoji came up panting, but Taoist Lu Li still didn't come down. He couldn't help but be annoyed and asked Emoji, "Emoji, where is your master?" "My master is up there, at the entrance of the Tianqing temple." Emoji said, "Xiao Shanren will see him if you bring someone up." "I still have to bring someone to climb up?" Xiao Qin was stunned. This Taoist Lu Li really had a good plan. If he were to climb up, not only would it be a waste of physical strength, but it would also be very torturous. "Isn't this a way to weaken my strength?" "Yes, we agreed to fight at the Tianqing temple." Emoji nodded. "Tell your master to ask him to come down." Xiao Qin glanced at Emoji from the corner of his eyes. He shook his legs and said, "Tell him that my patience is limited. He knows it." This. Emoji thought about it and called Taoist Lu Li. She said, "Master, philanthropist Xiao Chang has brought people here, but they are in the parking lot below. He wants you to come down." "Give the phone to Xiao Chang," said Taoist Lu Li. "Xiao Qin, my master wants you to answer the phone," Emoji said as she passed the phone to Xiao Qin. "Lu Li, hurry up and come down. You know my patience." Xiao Qin took the phone and said directly before Taoist Lu Li could speak, "Little friend Xiao Chang, we have agreed to fight at Heavenly Clarity Temple, so you should come up." Taoist Lu Li said unhurriedly, "As a martial artist, you have to keep your promise." "Oh, then forget it," Xiao Qin said directly and then returned the phone to Emoji. "Forget it?" Taoist Lu Li thought that Xiao Qin had agreed to come up, but he did not expect Emoji to say, "Master, it's not good. Xiao Shanren is in the car. He started the car and seems to be leaving." Damn it, he really dares to leave." Taoist Lu Li was shocked. "Stop him and tell him that I will go over immediately." Damn it, this little guy is too mean. He is too immoral." "Xiao Shanren, don't go. My master will come down soon." Emoji quickly blocked in front of Xiao Chen's car and said, "Oh, I was waiting for someone outside. It was a little cold, so I started the car and turned on the heater. I didn't say that I was leaving." Xiao Chen looked at Emoji inexplicably. Emoji was speechless. Taoist Lu Li also heard it on the phone and knew that he had been tricked. "Emoji, tell him that I won't go. Let him come up." Taoist Lu Li regained his confidence. "Xiao Shanren, my master said that he won't come down," Emoji said again. "Oh, then I'm going back." Xiao Chen put the car in gear and prepared to leave. "Master, he is really leaving this time." Emoji was shocked and said quickly, damn it. I'd better go down. This little guy is too mean. Taoist Luli had no choice but to say, Xiao Shanren, my master said that he will come down. Emoji said quickly, you should have said so earlier. Don't waste my gas. Xiaoqin didn't leave again. Emoji breathed a sigh of relief and thought that this task was really hard to do. If Xiaoqin really left, she would probably be scolded to death. After a while, a group of people came down from the stone steps. The leader was Taoist Luli. However, behind Taoist Luli, there was an old Taoist, but at a glance he wasn't Taoist Luli's disciple. From the way he dressed, he should be Taoist Luli's elder. This made Xiaoqin feel a little strange. Could it be that there were other masters in Tianqing Temple? Behind them was Kai Lehu and a young man who looked similar to Kai Lehu. The rest were a Japanese and the female ninja. After a few people came down, Xiaoqin got out of the car slowly and greeted them. Aya, isn't this Taoist Luli? I'm really sorry to let you guys come down to welcome me. Although Xiaoqin said that he was sorry, he didn't feel embarrassed at all. He chewed the bubble gum in his mouth, shook his legs and squinted his eyes like a hedonistic young master. Aya boss, you haven't practiced for a few years. Now you're really good at pretending to be a hedonistic young master. Wang Fantian exclaimed. That's right. Xiaoqin nodded and then lowered his voice. In a while, see if you can take down one or two of them when they're unprepared. These people's standards aren't low. We don't have to talk about the rules with them. Don't worry, boss. I didn't want to talk about it. Wang Fantian nodded. Ahem, little friend Xiaochang, are you here to fight? Then let's talk about the rules. Taoist Luli coughed twice and said, Go ahead. Xiaoqin nodded. The rules are that we'll fight as a group. All of us can fight together and your people can also fight together. In the end, when one side falls down or admits defeat, the other side wins. What do you think? Taoist Luli asked. That's a good idea. Xiaoqin nodded. If I win, I'll take Su Chusha's grandparents away. If I lose, I won't take them away. No, if you lose, you have to agree to our previous conditions and help us get Dr. Su's research materials. I don't care how you get them, whether you steal or rob. Anyway, as long as you get the materials, it's fine, Taoist Luli said. Oh, okay. Xiaoqin lied to him. Anyway, if he lost, he would think of other ways. Okay, it's a deal. Taoist Luli said, according to the rules of the martial arts world, firearms are not allowed to be used during the competition. Otherwise, it will be considered as voluntary surrender. What? I can't use weapons? Xiaoqin was stunned. This Taoist Luli was quite prophetic. He knew that I might use weapons? Of course not. If firearms are used, then what's the point of competing? Whoever has the most advanced weapon wins. If you get a rocket launcher, the Tianqing monastery will be finished, Taoist Luli said. Xiaoqin frowned. He couldn't say that what Taoist Luli said was unreasonable. This was the truth. When Xiaoqin and Yang Tan fought, there were no martial arts rules at all, but now, the rules are like this. I didn't say this. I believe the two people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau behind you also know this, right? Taoist Luli could see from the pass on the windshield of the car that Song Huawu's car belonged to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Okay. Xiaoqin nodded. He could argue with Taoist Luli on unimportant matters such as going down the mountain, but this kind of rule could not be argued. Even if he said that he would die, Taoist Luli would not agree to them using firearms. That thing could only be used in emergencies. It was fine to use it when life was in danger, but that was when they had a falling out. In that case, let's fight? Taoist Luli asked, what kind of battles do you have on your side? Okay, let's fight. Xiaoqin nodded and said, on my side, except for Su Chuxia and Tian Shoushou, everyone else can fight. However, can we not fight to the death? Of course. If someone dies, it will not be good for my Tianqing monastery. Taoist Luli nodded, but before he finished speaking, a large millstone suddenly flew over from nowhere. With a loud bang, it directly hit him on the head. Taoist Luli felt dizzy and fell to the ground in a daze. He cursed, IF*CK, you guys are sneaking up on me? Wang Fangtian was wandering around the area just now and found a stone statue with a millstone on it. He removed it and hid at the side. While Taoist Luli was not paying attention, he directly hit his head. Wang Fangtian ran over, jumped, and stepped on Taoist Luli's body. Everyone was caught off guard and stunned. He jumped up and down like he was playing on a trampoline. He stepped on Taoist Luli until blood bubbled at the corner of his mouth. He almost rolled his eyes. The Taoist priest not far behind Taoist Luli changed his expression. Kid, you're courting death. As he said that, he pulled out a soft sword from his waist and stabbed it at Wang Fangtian. Looking at his red eyes, it seemed like he wanted to stab Wang Fangtian to death. However, Wang Fangtian's reaction wasn't slow either. He chuckled and picked up the millstone on the ground. He raised it in front of him and with a kacha sound, the flexible sword stabbed into the millstone. It couldn't hurt Wang Fangtian at all. Your attack is too fierce. I can't hold it." As soon as Wang Fangtian let go, the millstone fell with a clang and directly hit Daoist Lu Li's body. Daoist Lu Li spat out a mouthful of blood, and his eyeballs protruded. Even if he did not die, he was smashed to internal injuries and directly lost the ability to fight. "Stop. Are you playing dirty?" The old Daoist was a little exasperated. "Are you playing a sneak attack? I say, old cow, are you stupid?" Just now it was Daoist Lu Li who said, "In that case, let's fight?" Then I said, "Okay, let's fight." Then my companion went up to hit him. "How is this a sneak attack? Are you a sore loser and want to be a rascal?" Xiao Qin said matter-of-factly. Chapter 568. Good, very good. The old Taoist priest was furious. "Lu Li said that you are as cunning as a fox, but I didn't believe it. Now that I see it, you really are a cunning person." "So what? Are we still going to fight?" Xiao Qin shrugged indifferently. His other identity was White Fox. Cunning as a fox? This was a name tailor-made for him. Fight, but no sneak attacks. Fight fair and square. The old Taoist priest said angrily, "Do you dare?" However, just as the old Taoist priest finished speaking, there was a sudden ow sound. Kai Lehu covered his crotch and lay on the ground, rolling on the ground in cold sweat. "You sneak attacked again?" The old Taoist priest was about to explode. "Do you still care about the rules of the pugilistic world? You dare to use weapons?" Kai Wujin was furious when he saw his father rolling on the ground from the sneak attack. The aura of a martial artist on his body surged, and his killing intent was revealed in an instant. "Didn't you say that firearms can't be used?" "I used a cold one." Wang Fantian chuckled and looked at the slingshot in his hand innocently. "I didn't expect this thing to be so useful." Ah. Not far away, Tian Wangshu was so happy that he was convulsing. Where did Xiao Chang get such a top-notch underling? He was really speechless. He was too top-notch. Xiao Qin glanced at Wang Fantian and was speechless. Could Wang Fantian's slingshot be compared to an ordinary slingshot? The string on his slingshot was quite tight. Most people wouldn't be able to pull it, but Wang Bangtian had infinite strength. Naturally, it didn't matter. In this way, the stones shot out from his slingshot were not like cannonballs, but they weren't any worse than the ancient divine bows that could shoot arrows with great accuracy. Kai Lehu was beaten up. Obviously, he was going to suffer. Su Chuxiao was also a little speechless. Xiao Qin's underling was so despicable, but she didn't sympathize with him. Who asked these people to be so evil? When everyone saw that it was just a slingshot, the old Taoist priest was speechless. After all, firearms couldn't be used, but this kind of slingshot couldn't be used. However, which martial arts competition would use such a rubbish thing? This thing could actually beat Kai Lehu half to death. The old Taoist was really speechless. Even if he used a slingshot, it was still considered a cold weapon. He still used a flexible sword, so he couldn't be compared to others. Kai Wujin's face also changed slightly. It was really hard to say anything about this. He could only say with a stern face, "Stop talking nonsense with them. Let's go together and cripple them. Hua Wu, Xia Shibin, you two keep those two Japanese occupied. I'll deal with this old Daoist and that Kai guy." Xiao Qin said. "Yes." Song Hua Wu and Xia Shibin responded. Xiao Qin glanced at Wang Fantian. He didn't know where Wang Fantian had gotten his hands on two huge metal poles from the parking lot. These things were extremely heavy, and they were usually placed in between the roads to serve as a barrier. Wang Fantian held one in each of his hands, and with a whooshing sound, he slashed at the old Taoist priest. "Boorish fellow. I'm so angry. How did I meet a boorish fellow like you?" The old Taoist priest saw Wang Fantian running over as if he didn't care about his life. He was shocked. His weapon was a flexible sword, but he could only retreat when he met this kind of hammer. His sword was completely useless. Before he could stab, the huge metal pole came smashing at his head. The old Taoist priest could only dodge back and forth. "Can anyone help me? This boorish fellow is too boorish." The old Taoist flew into a rage. This was the first time he had met such a person. Looking at his strength, he was clearly not even a first-layer martial artist, but the strength he exerted was even greater than a martial master. The key point was that even a martial master would not be able to carry this heavy iron lump around without getting tired. Yet this brat was still running so fast. "Let me help you." Naishima Kikufu and Ling Qianxue were forcing Song Hua Wu and Xia Shibin to retreat. At this time, seeing that the old Taoist priest was in such a difficult situation, he had to help. After all, if another person on his side fell, the chances of winning would be even lower. Now, it was a situation where everyone was hurt. Bang! There was a loud noise. Naishima Kikufu had just responded when he felt a splitting pain in the back of his head. The loud noise just now was caused by Wang Fantian throwing out an iron pole, which directly hit the back of Naishima Kikufu's head. Naishima Kikufu felt as if he had been hit by a meteorite. He was dizzy, in pain, and a little nauseous. These were the signs of a concussion. He walked around in circles, then directly lay on the ground and vomited. After a few vomits he fainted. I'm sorry. I didn't catch it. It's your head now." Wang Fantian smiled and stared at his hand in embarrassment. Xiaochen smiled. This Wang Fantian was really a talent now. Although he looked like a reckless man, he was actually not. Naishima Kikufu had just responded to the old Taoist priest's request to help. At the same time, he had to go to Song Hua Wu and Xia Shibin's side. Hence he was caught off guard. Wang Fantian seized this opportunity and hit him with the iron pole. "Kid, you're asking for it." The old Taoist priest did not expect that the main team member this time would be this reckless man. For this competition, he had specially made a fireproof suit overnight, so he was not afraid of Xiao Chen's fireball technique. However, he did not even get to use it. He was caught off guard by this reckless man. In fact, in retrospect, this Wang Fantian was not very powerful. If they had been on guard from the beginning, then a group of people would have attacked him together and taken him down. Now this kid had sneak attacked 3 masters in a row. "Why, kid, go to hell. You forced me to use my ultimate move." The old Taoist priest was anxious. Because of Naishima Kikufu, the pressure on Song Hua Wu and Xia Shibin was greatly reduced. Although the two of them were still no match for Ling Qianxue, they could fight to a draw. After saying that, the old Taoist priest threw the soft sword away and clasped his index fingers together. A sharp sword chi shot out from between his fingers and hit Wang Fantian not far away. This old Taoist priest is awesome. Wang Fantian was not really reckless. This sword chi was obviously very powerful. He did not dare to take it head-on and kept retreating to avoid it. Xiao Chen's expression also changed. At this moment he was fighting with Kai Wujin. Both of them were testing each other and had not really started fighting. However, in Xiao Chen's opinion, the strength that the old Taoist priest had displayed was at least the strength of a stage 3 or stage 4 martial master. He was not on the same level as Kai Wujin, who was only at stage 1. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen shouted, "Fanon, you deal with Kai. I'll deal with this cow nose." Okay. Wang Fantian also knew that he was no match for the old Taoist priest. He did not want to be entangled. He turned around and ran in the direction of Kai Wujin. The old Taoist priest heaved a sigh of relief. He would rather face Xiao Chen than Wang Fantian. At least he could defend against Xiao Chen's martial arts. This reckless man had no idea what kind of stupid moves he would make. However, just as he was feeling happy, he felt a sharp aura piercing through the air. Then Wang Fantian shouted, "F***ck you old bastard." Whoosh! Wang Fantian smashed the remaining iron pole in his hand towards the old Taoist priest. The old Taoist priest was shocked and quickly dodged. However, Xiao Chen threw a fireball at the dodging old Taoist priest. Luli was right. "You little bastard, you are too cunning. You like to sneak attack." The old Taoist priest was infuriated. "To think that I, your Taoist grandpa, refined a fire-resistant suit. Aha, it's useless now, isn't it?" Seeing the fireball smashing into his body, the old Taoist laughed complacently. He looked at Xiao Chen with disdain. "Your ultimate move is finished this time, it has no effect on me. Although you are cunning, you are still too inexperienced. Don't you know that the same move can only be used once against a high-level cultivator?" "Oh, you are right." Xiao Chen nodded. However, he was shocked. This old thing knew how to refine a fire-resistant suit? This was the Samadhi True Fire. A normal fire-resistant suit would be ineffective. Obviously, he added something to it to guard against him. There were weapons everywhere in the parking lot, and Wang Biantian was extremely handy with them. He threw out the metal pole and casually picked up a stone ball with an iron chain. With a whirring sound, he swung it towards Kai Wujin. Reckless. Kai Wujin didn't dare to face it head-on. He kept retreating. If the stone ball hit his head, even if he didn't die, he would suffer a concussion. Even if he was a martial master, he didn't dare to try it. Right now, none of the people on the other side dared to go head-on against Wang Fantian. This brat was a tiger. He could pick up anything and use it as a weapon. If this car wasn't driven by Xiao Chen and the others, he would probably be able to lift it up and smash it for fun. Kai Wujin was very annoyed. Even if he had all kinds of martial arts, he couldn't get close to Wang Fantian. This meant that he couldn't hit Wang Fantian. Although Wang Fantian couldn't hit Kai Wujin in a short period of time, the two of them couldn't do anything to each other. Kai Wujin wasn't a demonic cultivator. Although he was a martial master and had inner strength, he couldn't use his moves through the air. He had to hit the opponent's body to be effective. However, he couldn't even touch the corner of Wang Fantian's clothes. He couldn't even get half a meter away from Wang Fantian. Come on. What's your name? But that's not important. I don't want to not know. My boss called you Kai something. Let's use this name then. Wang Fantian laughed. Kai something. Come on. Why are you hiding? Do you dare to come over? Do you dare to put down that stone ball? Kai Wujin was so angry that his teeth itched. However, he had no other choice but to move forward. Hee hee. Wang Fangtian smiled, and the big stone ball in his hand spun even faster. It was like a spiral on top of his head. Whoosh whoosh, it was very scary. Suddenly, a slight kacha sound could be heard. The big stone ball suddenly broke free from the iron chain and was directly thrown out. It turned out that the stone ball was too heavy. The iron chain embedded in it couldn't support the weight for a long time. After a while, the stone ball broke free. Luckily I reacted fast. The old Taoist was fighting with Xiao Chen. Suddenly he felt a cold wind behind his head. He turned around and saw a big stone ball coming at him. Chapter 569. The old Taoist was furious. You are such a boorish man. You didn't attack others, but you purposely made things difficult for me. You attacked my disciple Luli and now you want to attack me. You are really immoral. However, since he had already discovered it, how could he let Wang Fangtian have his way? He quickly prepared to retreat, wanting to avoid the whizzing stone balls. However, the next moment he felt his body stiffen. It was as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. He was frozen into a block of ice and couldn't move. Oh no, I was tricked. It must be that bastard Xiao Chang. Old Taoist, you are right. I shouldn't have used the same trick so many times. This time I changed it. How is it? Does it feel good to be a popsicle? Xiao Chen chuckled. He changed the fireball technique to the ice ball technique. Boom. Before the old Taoist could answer, he was hit by the big stone ball. His head buzzed and he tumbled. However, his cultivation was profound and Luli couldn't compare to him. Although he was hit by the big stone ball, he felt bad after being frozen. He quickly used his cultivation to protect his body, so he didn't get hurt. Even so, he felt that his head was in a mess and his combat power was reduced. You tricked me. The old Taoist climbed up from the ground in exasperation. The reason why he dared to turn his back to Xiao Chen was because Xiao Chen's fireball technique was useless against him. Not only did he wear a fireproof suit, but he also set up a fireproof array around his body and head. Therefore, he wasn't afraid of Xiao Chen's fireball technique at all. Who knew that Xiao Chen would change it to the ice ball technique? Fortunately, his skull was very hard. The boulder and the ice on his body shattered into pieces and fell to the ground. Other than a big bump on the old Taoist's head, there was also a wound. It was very frightening to see blood spurting out of it. Who tricked you? Xiao Chen asked. This. The old Taoist thought about it and was speechless. Indeed, Xiao Chen didn't trick him. He was the one who asked Xiao Chen to change his move. It was just that Xiao Chen changed it at the right time. At the thought of this, the old Taoist pointed at Wang Fangtian, who had changed his weapon. Brute, you tricked me. Who's scamming you? The quality of the things in your parking lot is too low. Oxnose, your own things are not good and you're blaming me for spoiling them? Wang Fantian chuckled. His hand turned into an iron rod used to block cars in the parking lot. He held it in his hand like Sun Wukong's golden cudgel and swung it back and forth. Kai Wujin couldn't be bothered to lower himself to the same level as this person. This person's fighting style was completely boorish and powerful. There was really no way to use martial arts rules to spar with this kind of person. Here comes the ice ball again. As Xiao Chen roared, the old Taoist priest's body tensed up. He subconsciously looked at Xiao Chen and was about to dodge. But who would have thought that Xiao Chen would throw an ice ball at Kai Wujin? He had quietly approached Kai Wujin just now, so the ice ball hit Kai Wujin. If he wasn't wrong, Kai Wujin shouldn't be afraid of the fireball, so Xiao Chen directly used the ice ball. Kai Wujin was shocked. He thought that Xiao Chen was talking to the old Taoist priest, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Who would have thought that he would be hit again? This wasn't following the rules at all. His body was frozen, but he wasn't as strong as the old Taoist priest, so he couldn't break free for a while. He couldn't help but roar, "Aren't you fighting with Taoist Tai Shan? Why are you hitting me again? Didn't you say mixed team battles? Doesn't that mean that we can have a chaotic battle?" Xiao Chen asked. "You're not following the rules." Before Kai Wujin could finish his sentence, Wang Fantian's stick hit his head. This guy was hit so hard that he was seeing stars. Before he could react, the stick hit him again. Kai Wujin fell to the ground with resentment, unconscious. "Boss, I'm here to help you." Wang Fantian rushed over after dealing with Kai Wujin. Xiao Chen nodded and glanced at Song Huawu and Xia Shibin. The two of them were showing signs of losing and couldn't hold on any longer. That female ninja was a martial master, so it wasn't a problem for her to suppress Song Huawu and Xia Shibin. Seeing that the two of them were injured to different degrees, Xiao Chen shouted, "Huo Xia Shibin, step down." "I'll do it." "Fletcher." The female ninja looked at Xiao Chen and gritted her teeth. "How am I a lecher?" Xiao Chen asked. "You know what you've done." The woman snorted coldly. Seeing Xiao Chen coming over, her fighting spirit was even stronger. She held a katana in her hand, which was shining coldly. It was much more awe-inspiring than the dagger last time. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Naturally, he thought of the time when he accidentally grabbed the wrong cat, but he really didn't mean it. He could only say, "I think you're working for Yi Dao or something, right? He's dead now. Repent and don't be a ninja in the future. It's so boring. Look at those little girls nowadays. They live so freely every day. You're too boring. Don't slander Lord Yi Dao. Lord Yi Dao won't die." Ling Qinxue said angrily, "I'll kill you first." "What's your name?" Xiao Chen suddenly asked. Ling Qinxue was stunned. Then she snorted and said, "Why do you ask this?" "Nothing. I feel that you're very similar to someone I know." Xiao Chen said. "Oh." Ling Qinxue asked. "A classmate of mine." Xiao Chen said. "Your classmate?" Ling Qinxue was stunned. "Well, tell me your name first." Xiao Chen nodded. "I'll kill you. Before you die, I'll tell you. Otherwise, you won't know who killed you." Ling Qinxue waved the katana and rushed toward Xiao Chen. Although Ling Qinxue was a martial master, she was a bladesman. Her bladesmanship was very strange. It dazzled Xiao Chen. It was very beautiful and gorgeous, with a fierce murderous intent. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and dodged. He didn't know why, but he didn't really want to hurt this female ninja. He couldn't explain the reason, but he had a feeling in his heart. Could it be because he touched her? It shouldn't be. "I don't want to kill you," Xiao Chen said. "Now you should know who is left on your side. If you don't want to humiliate yourself, then stop. You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. It's useless to threaten me." Ling Qinxue said. "Really? Useless? Huawu, Shibin, you guys go kill that Night Island guy." Xiao Chen said. "Yes." Song Huawu and Xia Shibin responded and were about to kill him. Anyway, Night Island Kizuo was already lying on the ground and couldn't get up. "You're despicable." Ling Qinxue stared at Xiao Chen with her big eyes. There was anger and killing intent in them. "How dare you threaten me? Aren't you not afraid of threats?" Xiao Chen asked. "You." Ling Qinxue was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. She couldn't speak. She had never seen such a shameless person. However, she didn't dare to act rashly. She could see that Xiao Chen's group didn't fight according to the rules at all. Therefore, it was not impossible for Xiao Chen to let those two people kill Night Island Kizuo. On the contrary, it was very likely. Thinking of this, Ling Qinxue finally stopped her attack and said angrily, "What do you want?" "Nothing, I just want to ask what your name is." Xiao Chen asked. "You want to know my name so badly?" Ling Qinxue stared at Xiao Chen and said coldly, "Do you know that according to the rules of the Sakura group, if the enemy knows my name, what will be the consequences?" "What consequences?" Xiao Chen asked. "Either I kill you or you kill me. We won't stop until one of us is dead." Ling Qinxue looked at Xiao Chen and said word by word. "Ah." Xiao Chen sighed after hearing this. "Now you don't want to kill me? When have you ever given up on killing me?" "This?" Ling Qinxue was instantly stunned. Indeed, she had always wanted to kill Xiao Chen, so whether she told him or not, there was no difference. "You're right, I'm called Ling Qinxue." "Ling Qinxue? Really?" Xiao Chen looked at the female ninja in front of him in astonishment. Was it really her? But why didn't she know him? She had already told him her name. There was no need to pretend anymore. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen couldn't help but ask, "Are you really Ling Qianxue? Why would I lie to you? Are you worth lying to?" Ling Qianxue said coldly, "Well, I told you my name. You can ask your men to let go of Lord Night Island, and we can have a fair fight. Wait, one more thing. Can you take off your mask and let me see?" Xiao Chen waved his hand and continued to ask, "Take it off?" Ling Qianxue was a little stunned. Then she looked at Xiao Chen angrily. "You don't have to humiliate me like this. I asked you to take off your mask. How is that humiliating? Are you so ugly that you can't show your face?" Xiao Chen asked strangely. "Do you know that according to the rules of our Sakura group, if a strange man sees your face, what will happen?" Ling Qianxue asked. "What consequences?" Xiao Chen asked. "I will marry you or kill you," Ling Qianxue said. "What? Don't you want to kill me?" Xiao Chen was a little speechless. "Since you want to kill me, why do you care so much?" "You can change the question," Ling Qianxue said. "Well, it's a pity that such a good name turned out to be ugly." Xiao Chen saw that Ling Qianxue was about to go berserk, so he quickly said, "Then change the question. Do you know that I have a classmate named Ling Qianxue?" "What?" Ling Qianxue was stunned after hearing Xiao Chen's words. She frowned and said, "Which Ling Qianxue?" "Ling as in fierce, Qianxue as in thousands of snowflakes." Xiao Chen said. "You, classmate? Ling Qianxue?" Ling Qianxue widened her eyes and looked at Xiao Chen incredulously. Her identity in Xia Kingdom was Ling Qianxue. Chapter 570. Moreover, the reason why she did not reveal her veil to Xiao Chen was because Lord Yi Dao had asked her to get close to Xiao Chen. Today's mission was probably a failure. In the future, Ling Qianxue was going to use another identity to get close to Xiao Chen, and the other identity was Ling Qianxue. She was going to transfer to Xiao Chen's school and then secretly get close to him. However, she had not even started to get close to Xiao Chen. Why was there someone called Ling Qianxue in Xiao Chen's school? You don't know? Xiao Chen felt that Ling Qianxue did not seem to know what he was talking about. He could not help but be a little shocked. Was it true or not? Previously, he suspected that the Ling Qianxue who sat next to him was the Ling Qianxue in front of him. Although there was no evidence, it was a kind of intuition. And now, with his keen sixth senses, he also noticed that Ling Qianxue seemed to be a little surprised. What was going on? Could it be that the Ling Qianxue who sat next to him was not the ninja Ling Qianxue? Otherwise, why would she have such an expression? However, Xiao Chen felt that Ling Qianxue's astonishment should not be fake. Otherwise, she could have won the Best Actress award. Wasn't her acting a little too realistic? But this way Xiao Chen was even more puzzled. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? You mean you have a classmate called Ling Qianxue? Then is she from Japan? Ling Qianxue suddenly thought of something and asked Xiao Chen anxiously. "I don't think so. She's from Great Xia." Xiao Chen shook his head. It seemed that this Ling Qianxue was really not that Ling Qianxue. The two of them were not the same person. He was wrong. "What does that have to do with me?" Ling Qianxue stared at Xiao Chen and gritted her teeth. "Do you think I'm your classmate? If you're not, then so be it. It doesn't matter." Xiao Chen shrugged and turned to look not far away. Daoist Taishan was forced to retreat by Wang Fantian. As Daoist Taishan ran, he scolded, "Brute, brute, too brute." Xiao Chen casually threw out an ice ball, which directly smashed onto Daoist Taishan's body, causing his body to freeze for a moment. Daoist Taishan did not expect that while Xiao Chen was chatting with Ling Qianxue, he would still be able to sneak attack him. He was immediately hit, and then Wang Fantian ran over and laughed, "Old bastard, watch how I kill you this time." Wang Fangtian lifted Daoist Taishan up and pressed his head down onto the ground with all his might. Daoist Taishan's head was directly embedded into the cement floor, and he couldn't move at all. He was just like an inverted ice sculpture, unable to get up, unable to speak, and unable to struggle at all. Seeing that the outcome was set, Xiao Chen said to Ling Qianxue, "Do you still want to fight? Do you dare to fight me fairly?" Ling Qianxue asked. "Ling Qianxue, what's wrong with your brain? Do you really think that you are my opponent in a fair fight?" Xiao Chen looked at Ling Qianxue and said, "Previously I thought that you were my classmate, so I let you have your way. If you push your luck, don't blame me for being impolite." "You thought that I was your classmate?" Ling Qianxue hesitated for a moment and looked at Nishima Kikuo, who was not far away. She realized that he was in a coma, so she asked, "Do I look like your classmate?" "Gosh, you didn't even take off your veil, how would I know?" Xiao Chen shrugged and said. "Then, why do you say that we look like each other?" Ling Qinshua asked back. I don't know intuition body shape. Xiaoqin did not hide anything. That classmate of mine, is she your long-lost sister? I will let you go today, but I will kill you sooner or later. Ling Qinshua's expression changed and then she said, since you have lost, I will take my leave. After Ling Qinshua finished speaking, she quickly ran to the side of the unconscious Nishima Kikuo, carried him on her back, and quickly left the place without saying much. Xiaoqin shook his head. This Ling Qinshua was a product of brainwashing. In fact, perhaps she was not a bad person, so Xiaoqin let her go. At this moment, all the opponents had been defeated. Su Chuxia and Tian Wangshuo also got out of the car and ran over. Song Huawu asked, Captain, what do we do now? Pull that Taoist Tai Shan out and ask him if he admits defeat. Xiaoqin instructed Wang Fantian, then said to Su Chuxia, okay, I guess your grandparents will be released safely this time. Thank you Xiaochang. Su Chuxia saw with her own eyes how intense and dangerous the battle just now was. Although it seemed like Xiaoqin had a lot of tricks and had the upper hand, Su Chuxia knew that these people were all very powerful. None of them were mediocre. If Xiaoqin was not careful, he could be injured. On the other hand, Tian Wangshuo was carefree and looked curiously at the ice sculpture of Taoist Tai Shan. This ice sculpture is really beautiful. Don't pull it out yet, Sister Wangshuo wants to take a picture with it. As she spoke, Tian Wangshuo ran over and stood next to the ice sculpture. She took a selfie and posted it on her WeChat Moments with the caption, this is the first ice sculpture in Lan City this year. Then Wang Fantian was pulled out by Taoist Tai Shan and fell to the ground. Suddenly, ice shards fell all over the ground, and Taoist Tai Shan finally thawed. He sat on the ground and glared at Wang Fantian. Just you wait, you brute, I will teach you a lesson sooner or later. Hey? You old fogey, are you looking for trouble? As he spoke, Wang Fantian picked up another metal pole. This thing is still the best, it can't be smashed. Don't move. I admit defeat. Taoist Tai Shan was very straightforward. He knew that the situation was not in his favor. At this time, his people were all wiped out, and he was already feeling numb when facing Wang Fantian alone. If Xiaoqin joined the battle, he would definitely not be a match for them, so he might as well just admit defeat. Ox knows you have some self-awareness. If that's the case, bring us to receive Grandpa Su and Granny Su. Xiaoqin said. No problem, you guys don't go up. I will get Moji to receive them. Taoist Tai Shan was a little afraid. These people did not play by the rules. If he let them go up the mountain, what if Xiaoqin became angry and used a fireball to set Tianqing sect on fire? Then it would be difficult to extinguish the fire. Therefore he might as well admit defeat and let Moji go up to receive them, while he sat on the ground to heal himself. He did not speak anymore. I say, Ox knows old Taoist, instead of being a Taoist you just had to get involved in this kind of thing. You're done for. You've been beaten up, right? Next time be more obedient. Xiaoqin said to Taoist Tai Shan. I had no choice. The Taoist temple is short of money. If Xiao Shanren had donated some, it wouldn't be like this. Taoist Tai Shan sighed. Donate your head. Look, you want to fight with me and I've called so many people. You have to pay me for the transportation fees. Xiaoqin said, when people lose a battle they have to pay compensation. When are you going to pay me? We're just playing around, let's not talk about money, right? Taoist Tai Shan said. How can I do that? How about this, I won't ask for much. Just give me $1 million and I'll treat these people to a meal or something. Xiaoqin said. This poor Taoist will go back and discuss it. Taoist Tai Shan laughed dryly. In fact, the so-called discussion was just perfunctory. In fact, he had never thought of compensating Xiaoqin. Oh, then hurry up. If I don't get the money after a long time, I'll secretly burn down your Taoist temple. I don't believe that you've also set up a fireproof formation on your Taoist temple. Xiaoqin said. You know about formations? Taoist Tai Shan was a little surprised. Don't talk about that. Hurry up and go back to gather the money. Xiaoqin said. Sigh, burning someone's house requires legal responsibility. Taoist Tai Shan said. Oh, this is the grudge of the Jianghu. Alright, Huawu, tell me the grudges of the Jianghu of the pugilistic world. Do you guys care about burning a house? Xiaoqin turned his head and asked Song Huawu. I don't care. Song Huawu said coldly. Did you hear that, Taoist Tai Shan? They don't care, Xiaoqin said with a shrug. Sigh. I'll go back and do some research. Taoist Tai Shan said with a sigh. There was no other way. A loss was a loss. Not long after, Moji came down the mountain. Another disciple from Heavenly Pure Monastery came down with him. It was unknown what emoji was, but the two of them carried Grandpa Su and Granny Su down the mountain. Grandpa, Grandma. Su Chuxia hurriedly ran over. Why did you come to Heavenly Pure Monastery? The people here are all bad people. Granny Su was stunned. How are they bad people? Taoist Luli provided us with good food and drinks. We were invited here as guests. They called you here and forced Xiao Chang to duel with them to achieve an unspeakable goal. You've been tricked. Su Chuxia explained. Are you serious? That can't be right? I was thinking we've been begging them for some celestial water for a few years. It's not a big deal to come and thank them. Granny Su was shocked when she heard this. It's not true. Look at this place. It's a mess. If Xiao Chang didn't win, they wouldn't have let him go. Su Chuxia said. Yes, Sour can testify. Tian Sour said. Sai, you can't judge a book by its cover. I didn't expect Taoist Luli to be so bad. Granny Su naturally believed her granddaughter, Tian Sour, even though it was a little strange. Taoist Tai Shan, according to the rules of Jianghu, I've won. You're not allowed to kidnap anyone from the Su family in the future. Do you hear me? Xiao Qin warned Taoist Tai Shan. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Let me tell you, you've seen my friends and my personalities. We're both quite fierce. One burned your monastery, and the other tore down your azure mountain. Oh, I got it. Taoist Tai Shan nodded. He could really tell that these two people were really ferocious. However, according to the rules of Jianghu, since Xiao Chang had won, it was indeed inappropriate for them to kidnap again. Since everyone was talking about the rules of Jianghu, they had to follow them. Otherwise, these two brats might really tear down Azure Mountain. Chapter 571. Therefore, for the safety of Tianqing Temple, Taoist Tai Shan had to agree. However, he was thinking about something else. Then let's go. Inform the others. If anyone tries to harm them, I will look for you first, Xiao Qin threatened. Why is that? Taoist Tai Shan was a little depressed. Because you are easy to find. I don't know where the Tide Club and the ninjas are, so I will look for you first, Xiao Qin said. Then I will tell you the address, Taoist Tai Shan said quickly. No need. Xiao Qin waved his hand. I will look for you. Taoist Tai Shan finally knew why his disciple, Taoist Luli, had such a bad temper recently. He wanted to scold him now. With that, Xiao Qin brought Su Chuxia's grandparents to the car. However, he realized that the car was not small. There was one more person. Taoist Tai Shan sneered at the side. Aren't you very capable? Let's see what you can do. One of you must run back with the car. I think Wang Fantian is the most suitable. He will run to death. However, before he could be happy for long, he saw Wang Fantian running over. He was carrying a car. Damn, that is our temple's car. Taoist Tai Shan finally exploded. He pointed at Wang Fantian. Put it down. I'll drive it first. You can pick it up at the foot of the mountain later. Since you kidnapped Su Chuxia's grandparents, you must know their address. I'll just park it downstairs. Wang Fantian said nonchalantly. Humph, I don't have the car key. Taoist Tai Shan rolled his eyes. Oh, it doesn't matter. I am best at opening locks by force. Wang Fantian said and was about to pull the door open with brute force. Damn, I remember again. I have the key. Taoist Tai Shan was so angry that he became a real bull's nose. Here you go. Oh, actually, even if I open the door, I can't start the fire, Wang Fantian said. Taoist Tai Shan felt a little annoyed and didn't want to stay any longer. He waved his hand at Emoji's two disciples and said, Carry your master, let's go back to Heavenly Purity Monastery. Yes, martial ancestor. Emoji carried Taoist Luli and quickly followed Taoist Tai Shan up the mountain. On the way, Su Chuxia explained to her grandparents, These people want Dad's research results. They want to kidnap us and threaten us. So that's how it is. Sai, I can't trust these people so easily next time. Grandpa Su nodded. Sorry for the trouble. Granny Su said with embarrassment. That's fine. It's also my job responsibility. Xiao Qin said, Actually, I'm not. Actually, Xiao Chang isn't the person in charge of this mission. It's only because he's my boyfriend that he came to help us. Tian sourly said, That little Meng from before is really bad. Sour's boyfriend is the best. Granny Su nodded and sighed. Yeah, I wonder when our Chuxia will be able to find such an outstanding young man. Grandpa Su added. Su Chuxia glared at Tian Suruan. Can't you just let him explain? But now he was being dragged into the matter again. Tian sourly stuck out her tongue. She was a person who cared a lot about her reputation. If outsiders found out that she was Xiao Chang's fake girlfriend, how embarrassing would that be? Therefore she would never say anything about this matter. It was fine if only Su Chuxia knew about it. After Xiao Chen went back, Taoist Lu Li was carried to a quiet room in the Taoist temple. Taoist Tai Shan checked on his injuries and drank a bowl of his own, immortal water. Taoist Lu Li finally woke up, but his condition was not very good. It could even be said that he was in a very bad condition. Cough cough cough. Master, I'm so sad. Sigh, your injuries are not light. Fortunately, I was able to save you with the help of your martial granduncle. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to successfully concoct this immortal water. Taoist Tai Shan sighed. We've kicked an iron plate this time. Yeah, this Xiao Chang and that brute are too ruthless. These two people are amazing. Where did they come from? Taoist Lu Li was infuriated at the mention of these two people. *CK, I have to take revenge for these two. And revenge is a small matter. Now I'm thinking about something else. If Martial Granduncle was still alive, that brute wouldn't be a match for him at all. A sinister smile appeared on Taoist Tai Shan's face. Master, what do you mean? Taoist Lu Li was stunned and quickly asked. I discovered a problem today. That Xiao Chang not only knows how to use the fireball technique, but he also knows how to use the ice ball technique. Taoist Tai Shan said, Lu Li, didn't you think of something? Fireball technique, ice ball technique? Taoist Lu Li was shocked and his eyes widened. In that case, this Xiao Chang might really be a cultivator. That's right. Taoist Tai Shan nodded his head in satisfaction and said, Lu Li, it seems that you have also thought of it. That's right, this Xiao Chang is very likely a cultivator. Furthermore, from what you told me about him knowing about talismans, I know that he should be one of us. Furthermore, he also knew about the formation today, so I think there's no mistake. Master, you mean to let Martial Granduncle possess me? Taoist Lu Li's eyes lit up. At the same time he became somewhat happy. As long as there is a suitable cultivator, Martial Granduncle can possess me and be reborn. That's right. In this heavenly pure monastery, I'm the only one who has lived up to expectations and has already made some achievements. You are still very shallow and it's impossible for Martial Granduncle to possess both of us. This Xiao Chang is a good body to possess and his strength is sufficiently high. Taoist Tai Shan nodded and said, Lu Li, inform Yakashima Kikuo and Kai Lehu to come for a meeting now. I'll go find your Martial Granduncle and tell him this good news. Alright, I'll go and contact him now. Taoist Lu Li nodded his head, took his phone and began to contact him. As for Taoist Tai Shan, he walked into the depths of the monastery. It was rugged and he passed through several courtyards along the way. Finally, he arrived at the entrance of a basement. He carefully opened the large door lock and entered. Is Tai Shan back? An old but vigorous voice came from inside. Yes, Tai Shan greets Martial Uncle. Taoist Tai Shan said carefully. How is Lu Li? The old voice asked. The room was extremely dark and he couldn't see anything at all. He couldn't even see his fingers in front of him, so he didn't know where the voice came from. However, Tai Shan knew that his martial uncle was currently only in the state of a primordial spirit. He needed someone to possess him and be reborn. Fortunately, he has consumed the immortal water that martial uncle made for him, so he's fine now. Taoist Tai Shan nodded his head and said, Martial uncle, I was in a hurry just now, so I didn't have time to tell you something important. What is it? The old voice asked. It's like this, I've already thought of a suitable body for Martial Uncle to possess. Taoist Tai Shan said excitedly, that is the person who injured us today, Xiao Chang. What's going on? Could it be that he's a cultivator? The old voice was filled with excitement as he hurriedly asked. That's right. Not only does he know talismans and formations, he can also use fire and water attribute martial skills. How can he be a devil cultivator? Taoist Tai Shan said, martial cultivators are either fire, water or ice attribute. It's impossible to use them together. No one cultivates these two conflicting mental cultivation methods. Sure enough, that's great. The old voice was somewhat happy. Then quickly bring him here. That's great, I'm finally going to be reborn. That's great. Ha ha ha, I never thought that I, old demon fire wolf, would finally be able to see the light of day again, wahaha. I'll think of a way to trick him here as soon as possible. Taoist Tai Shan nodded and agreed. And I'll wait for your good news. Old demon fire wolf said. On the other side, Taoist Lu Li contacted Yi Dao Kufu and Kai Lehu one by one. The two of them were actually not weak. Although they were seriously injured, they had found a place at the foot of the mountain to recover. Each of them had their own methods. In any case, when Taoist Taishan returned, they were already there. Those two old fellows, did you let them go? When Kai Lehu saw Taoist Taishan, he hurriedly asked, it seems that even the most powerful Taoist Taishan is not a match for them. Let them go. Taoist Taishan nodded. Everyone, let's not laugh at each other. Those two people are really powerful. Let's think of our next step. Originally, I wanted Ling Qianxue to pretend to be a student and go to the school to get close to Xiao Chang and Su Chuxiao. But now it seems that there's not much point. We used the rules of the pugilistic world to talk, and the other party also used the rules of the pugilistic world to talk. We can't kidnap the Su family anymore. Why don't we think of a way to steal from the research base? Yi Dao Kufu said. That's a good idea, but Xiao Chang and that brat are too powerful. With them obstructing us, it will be very difficult for our people to enter the research base. Kai Lehu said. And Xiao Chang and that brat are led by Xiao Chang. What we need to do now is to get rid of Xiao Chang. That brat is nothing to be afraid of. His IQ is a big problem. Taoist Taishan said, so let's do this. We'll deal with Xiao Chang, while Mr. Yi Dao and Mr. Kai steal the information from the research base. What do you think? It's not easy to do. Yi Dao Kufu and Kai Lehu looked at each other. The Xiao Chang was very difficult to deal with. They didn't expect Taoist Taishan to take the initiative to agree. However, it was also very difficult to enter the research base. If it was that easy to enter, they wouldn't have kidnapped the Su family. Perhaps you might think that it's very difficult to enter the research base now, but what if Xiao Chang brings you in? Taoist Taishan smiled slightly. Chapter 572. Him? Bring us in? How is that possible? That kid is unmoved by force or persuasion. Kai Lehu was stunned. He was infuriated when he thought of Xiao Chang. This time, I'm afraid it's not up to him. He will listen to us. Taoist Taishan smiled and said mysteriously, are you serious? Will Xiao Chang listen to you? Is it a threat or a cooperation? Yashima Kikuo asked in disbelief. You don't need to understand this. Just wait for the good news. Now gather your men and prepare to attack the research base at any time. Listen to my news. Taoist Taishan said. All right, let's go back and prepare. Kai Lehu and Yashima Kikuo thought that this was a good thing. If they could deal with Xiao Chang, there would be no problem. However, what method did Taoist Taishan use? Could it be hypnosis? However, it was not their place to ask. The Pure Sky Monastery was a little strange. There were many legends among the people, so since the monastery was so confident, they waited for the good news. Yes, take care. Taoist Taishan said. After these people left, Taoist Luli asked, Master, how was it? What did Martial Uncle say? Your martial granduncle also agreed to let us trick that brat Xiao Chang over and then possess him. Taoist Taishan said, when the time comes, Martial Uncle Xiao Chang will bring us directly to the research base. He and Song Huawu have such a good relationship. Even if they are not colleagues, they are still related. And then I'll go and ask Xiao Chang? However, what if Xiao Chang doesn't come? Taoist Luli asked. Tell him that we have prepared 1 million in compensation and let him come to collect it. Taoist Taishan said. But what if he asks us to transfer the money? That kid can do it. Taoist Luli knew Xiao Qin very well. I feel that he won't come on purpose. If we don't transfer the money, he might threaten us. That's true. You know Xiao Chang well. After Taoist Taishan heard this, he nodded with a serious expression. Then we have to think of another way. Do you have any ideas? Let me think. Taoist Luli frowned and thought of a solution. Then Xiaobai. Why don't we do this? Let's tell him that our Taoist temple has no money, but we have some gold bars as compensation. Let him drive over to get the gold bars. Then what if he wants us to send it? Taoist Taishan asked. Didn't he drive our car away? We can't give it away. Taoist Luli slapped his thigh and said. That's right. Good, then invite him over now, the sooner the better. Taoist Taishan ordered. Okay. Taoist Luli took out his mobile phone and sent a Weixin message to Xiao Chen. Hello, young Master Chang. Are you home? We're here. What? Xiao Chen replied. Well, I've discussed it with my master. We're going to compensate you with 1 million yuan. Taoist Luli said. Oh, transfer it. Transfer it directly into my Weixin wallet. Xiao Chen said. Taoist Luli looked at his mobile phone with an expectant expression. He smiled and said, Young Master Chang, our Taoist temple is too poor. We don't have any cash. How about I give you the equivalent value of gold bars? The gold bars are valuable. How about I give you 10% lower than the market price? Gold bars, then you send it to me? Xiao Qin said. That doesn't seem to work. First, we are all injured. Second, our Tianqing temple's car was driven away by you. We can't go. Taoist Lu Li said, and if we want to find a car, we don't dare to find a strange car. It's too conspicuous to pull a car full of gold bars. Xiao Qin thought about it. Although it was a little strange, it was impossible for Taoist Taishan to give him money. Now that he suddenly gave him money, he must be hiding something. However, Xiao Qin didn't refuse it. It's a waste not to get it for free. Thinking of this, Xiao Qin said, okay, I'll go and get it tomorrow. Okay, then I'll wait for you. Taoist Lu Li said. Take a picture first. I want to see how much gold there is. Xiao Qin suddenly asked. I'll wait. Taoist Lu Li looked at Xiao Qin's Weishin and sneered. Fortunately, there were gold bars in the Taoist temple. Otherwise, it wouldn't match. He asked Mo Ji to run to the warehouse, take a few photos of the gold bars, and then send them to Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin looked at it. There were gold bars. Although he was a little puzzled why Taoist Lu Li was so active, he thought about it and decided to go. Anyway, even if he couldn't get the gold bars, he wouldn't lose too much. He wasn't going to fight. Even if he couldn't beat Xiao Qin, he had absolute confidence that he could escape. With the strength of these two people, they couldn't keep Xiao Qin. Moreover, Taoist Lu Li was seriously injured. The next morning, Xiao Qin brought Su Chuxia and Tian Wangshu to school. On the way, he said to them, Taoist Lu said he wanted to give me some gold bars. I'll go and get them later. Wow, gold. Is it for your girlfriend? Tian Wangshu said with an expectant smile. Wangshu, how can you ask for things from others? Su Chuxia said. It's okay. I don't lack money anyway. If you like it, I'll give it to you. Xiao Qin said indifferently. He didn't lack money. The gold bars were just to trick Taoist Lu. It was his fault for causing trouble for him. But I don't want it either, Su Chuxia said. I want it. Sister Wangshu doesn't lack anything except gold. Give it to me. Tian Wangshu said quickly. Okay. Xiao Qin smiled. He was probably about to say goodbye to Tian Wangshu. Taoist Lu Li and the others should stop here. Even if they robbed the research base in the future, they wouldn't do anything to Su Chuxiao or Grandpa Su. They should still abide by the rules of the underworld. Otherwise, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau could arrest them directly. They were the first to violate the rules of the underworld. The people of the underworld wouldn't stand up for them. Therefore, he left something for this fake girlfriend of his when he left. He might not see her again in the future because he couldn't use the identity of Yang Tan forever. Xiao Chang, shouldn't you hand these things over? Su Chuxia asked. Isn't it a mistake to give them to Tian Wangshu? Oh, not really, Xiao Qin said. Yang Tan and I have nothing to do with each other. He was the one who made the mistake. Okay. Su Chuxia shrugged and didn't say anything else. There's gold, there's gold. Chuxia, what do you think Sister Wangshu should make? Should I make a big gold chain and wear it around my neck? Tian Wangshu shook Su Chuxia's arm and said excitedly. Su Chuxia was a little speechless. Can you be more normal? Are you a big sister? Have you ever seen a girl wear a big gold chain when she goes out? That's true. You'll feel rich if you leave the gold bars at home. You'll feel happy when you look at them every day. Tian Wangshu said. Whatever. Just don't leave it at my house, Su Chuxia said. Why? Tian Wangshu said, are you burning the bridge after crossing it? You tricked me here and now you want to chase me away? I'm afraid of attracting thieves, Su Chuxia said. Isn't there Xiao Chang? Tian Wangshu said. He can't be with us all the time. He's from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He'll go back after this mission. I'm worried that he'll be targeted, Su Chuxia said. Ah. After Tian Wangshu heard this, she immediately lowered her head gloomily. She also thought that Xiao Chang would eventually leave. She didn't know why, but Tian Wangshu's heart ached. She was a little reluctant to leave. Although they hadn't spent much time together, Xiao Qin brought her a lot of joy. She quite liked to play with Xiao Qin. She didn't expect Xiao Qin to leave so soon. Wangshu, are you in love with him? Do you like Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia lowered her voice, but Xiao Qin could still hear her. However, he couldn't interrupt this kind of topic. How is that possible? Tian Wangshu quickly said, Sister Wangshu isn't that easy to fall for. Sister Wangshu is very difficult to pursue. Alright, it's indeed difficult. You still have to beg others to pursue you, Su Chuxia said. Chuxia, how dare you mock me? Tian Wangshu was furious. Forget it. If you speak louder, Xiao Chang will hear you. Su Chuxia smiled. All right. Tian Wangshu didn't say anything else. Xiaoqin dropped the two of them off at school. Then he drove to Mount Azure Mountain's pure heavenly temple to find Taoist Lu Li to get the gold bar. The car quickly arrived at Mount Azure Mountain. Xiaoqin parked the car and went directly to the entrance of Pure Heavenly Temple. Today, Pure Heavenly Temple had returned to normal. Many good men and women were working hard to enter Pure Heavenly Temple. Xiaoqin arrived at Pure Heavenly Temple under the guidance of Mo Ji, who had been waiting for a long time. As soon as he entered, he saw Taoist Lu Li smiling from afar. Lu Li, are you all right? Looking at you, you seem to be fine. Xiaoqin was a little surprised. This guy was seriously injured yesterday. Don't I have the immortal water here? Didn't young Master Chang come to ask for the immortal water before? You must know its effects, right? Taoist Lu Li said with a smile. He didn't forget to flatter the Taoist temple's immortal water. Of course, the reason why he was so excited was that this minor disciple in front of him was about to be possessed by the martial granduncle. At that time, this kid would be gone and become the martial granduncle. It was really satisfying. Oh, you made me pour it into the toilet. Xiaoqin said, don't talk nonsense. Take me to get the gold bar. Haha, of course, no problem. Originally, I wanted to discuss the talisman with young Master Chang. Since young Master Chang is in a hurry, then please. Taoist Lu Li said as he made an inviting gesture. Then the two walked into the Taoist temple together. Where is your master Taoist Taishan? Asked Xiaoqin. Taoist Taishan is waiting for young Master Chang in Songjin Pavilion. That Songjin Pavilion is an important place in the Taoist temple. Only master can open it. Taoist Lu Li said casually. Xiaoqin took 2 steps and suddenly said, you won't trick me, right? Aha, how would we dare to trick you? You are so powerful. You always want to burn the Taoist temple. We can't afford to offend you, said Taoist Lu Li. Chapter 573. Oh. Xiaoqin nodded and followed Taoist Lu Li all the way to the depths of the Taoist temple. There was a small independent house. It's here. Young Master Chang, please come in. Taoist Lu Li said to Xiaoqin. That's not right. Why is this a basement? Xiaoqin looked at Taoist Lu Li opening a secret passage in the middle of the floor of the small house. He asked curiously and vigilantly. Of course, the gold is naturally hidden in a secret place. Otherwise it will attract thieves. Taoist Lu Li said. Then you go down and move it up. I won't go down. Xiaoqin felt that there seemed to be a bit of a gloomy feeling inside, which made him subconsciously vigilant. My master, Taoist Taishan, is still down there and this secret passage is a bit long. You see. Taoist Lu Li didn't expect Xiaoqin to not go down. Xiaoqin was about to refuse, but he heard the voice of Elder Heaven Ancestor saying, there is something strange inside. It seems a bit interesting. Let's go down and take a look. There is no danger? Xiaoqin asked. There should be, but isn't I here? I don't think there will be too much of a problem. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Well, then you lead the way. Xiaoqin nodded and said to Taoist Lu Li, who was about to continue to explain to him. Please come in. Taoist Lu Li nodded and entered the secret passage. This secret passage was really not short. The two of them walked for a long time before they came to a small door. The more Xiaoqin looked, the more he felt that something was wrong. However, since Elder Heaven Ancestor said that there was no problem, he pretended not to know and said, is it here? And I will open the door for young Master Chang. Taoist Lu Li nodded and opened the small door. Then he suddenly pushed Xiaoqin from behind and Xiaoqin was pushed into the room. This was an incomparably dark room with no light at all. Xiaoqin had 6 senses that allowed him to see things in the dark. Once he entered, he felt that there was something strange in this room. The layout of this room was like a formation. Just as he was about to turn around and grab Taoist Lu Li, he saw a flash of white light. Suddenly, like a bolt of lightning, it shot into the top of Xiaoqin's head. Ah! Xiaoqin's brain was in so much pain that it felt like it was going to explode. He held his head and fainted on the ground. Feeling that Xiaoqin had fallen and martial uncle Master Fire Wolf had successfully taken over, Taoist Lu Li laughed and said, it's done. Master, can we turn on the light now? At this time the lights in the small room lit up. It was indeed an array. This was an array designed to preserve old demon Fire Wolf's primordial spirit. At this time, Taoist Taishan walked out of the corner and looked coldly at Xiaoqin, who was lying on the ground. He smiled and said, let's not disturb the fusion of martial uncle's soul. You and I can leave and wait. It's done. Great. With a powerful figure like Martial Uncle, our heavenly pure temple will be a member of the martial arts world in the future. Taoist Lu Li said excitedly, otherwise we have to raise money everywhere to repair the Taoist temple. It's really miserable. Well, with Martial Uncle's strength and status, our heavenly pure temple will slowly become stronger. Taoist Tai Shan also nodded. In the room, Xiaoqin only felt as if something had occupied his divine sense C. His mind was in a mess and he instantly lost consciousness. Old Demon Fire Wolf was very happy. From the moment Xiaoqin came in, he felt that this was a good body for him to take over. This was definitely a cultivator and a martial master level cultivator at that. It was really a heaven-sent opportunity. For a body of this level, he could directly take over it in one go without any difficulty. After entering Xiaoqian's divine sense space, Old Demon Fire Wolf was about to begin the primordial spirit fusion when he suddenly felt that there seemed to be a pair of eyes peeping at him in the dark, giving him a big fright. "Oh, kid, you're not dead yet? You're still conscious?" Old Demon Fire Wolf subconsciously thought that Xiaoqian's primordial spirit was not completely destroyed, and there was still a trace of divine sense remaining, looking at him unwillingly. It's actually the primordial spirit of the Foundation establishment stage. TSK, what a good thing. Elder Heaven Ancestor's mocking voice sounded. Old Demon Fire Wolf immediately stood up in fright and exclaimed, "Oh my God, who? Oh, who are you?" "Ah, of course it's this old man." Elder Heaven Ancestor appeared in Xiaoqian's divine sense space and appeared in front of Old Demon Fire Wolf. You. Old Demon Fire Wolf suddenly realized that the primordial spirit in front of him was not Xiaoqian's primordial spirit at all, but another high-level primordial spirit. Even he couldn't see the true strength of this primordial spirit. What's going on? Could it be that Xiaoqian has been taken over by another primordial spirit? How is this possible? But why didn't I feel it when I took over? Or could it be that this primordial spirit didn't succeed in taking over, so it temporarily resided in the divine sense space and hadn't fused yet? What about me? Elder Heaven Ancestor asked. That. Senior, I'm leaving. I didn't know this was Senior's territory. Sorry for disturbing. With that, Old Demon Fire Wolf wanted to leave. He wasn't stupid. With such a powerful primordial spirit here, he simply wasn't a match for it. It would be a piece of cake to destroy it. Oh, since you're here, don't think about leaving. You won't be able to get out, Elder Heaven Ancestor said indifferently. Oh, Senior, I was wrong. Please let me go. Old Demon Fire Wolf was shocked. Wait on the side first. After Elder Heaven Ancestor said that, he shouted into the divine sense space, "Xiaoqian, wake up. Come out and play." Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice echoed in the divine sense space. It seemed to have some kind of magical power that made Xiaoqian slowly transform. However, when Xiaoqian woke up, he saw a blurry space. And not far from him there were two people. One was a burly, spirited old man, and the other was a somewhat wretched-looking middle-aged man. "This is?" Xiaoqian asked curiously. "Ah, Xiaoqian, don't you recognize me?" The burly old man laughed and said to Xiaoqian. "Your Elder Heaven Ancestor." Xiaoqian was shocked. How could he see Elder Heaven Ancestor? Didn't the celestial elder only exist in one's body and not as a physical being? Then what he saw was, "Of course it's me." Elder Heaven Ancestor nodded. "Xiaoqian, we finally meet. Then what is this place? Who is this person?" Xiaoqian looked at the wretched-looking man in the Taoist robe and asked. "This is your deep sea of consciousness, or rather, the space of consciousness. As for me and this primordial spirit, we exist in your space of consciousness," Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "And this little guy just tried to possess you. But I saw that he still has some use, so I didn't kill him and left him alive." Yes, I have use. Old Devil Fire Wolf said in fright. "So, then Xiaoqian was shocked. "Am I also in the form of a primordial spirit? Otherwise, why would I appear here?" Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. "Well, your primordial spirit was about to be destroyed by this little guy, so I helped you protect it first. Then when he came in, I removed the protection. Right now, your body is only unconscious. It's not a big deal. So that's how it is. Thank you, Elder Heaven Ancestor." After hearing this, Xiaoqian had some lingering fear. There was indeed a problem. However, this Taoist Deer Li and Taoist Tai Shan were quite sinister. They tricked me into coming here just to possess my body. They were too wicked. Fortunately, I had already taken precautions. If it wasn't for Elder Heaven Ancestor letting me in, I wouldn't have gone in no matter what. Now that Elder Heaven Ancestor was confident, it wasn't too dangerous. Haha, you are my disciple. Naturally, I have to take care of you. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Old Devil Fire Wolf smiled and asked carefully, that, the two of you have such a deep relationship. It's not good for an outsider like me to be here. Well, should I leave first? Leave. You can leave now that you're here? Elder Heaven Ancestor looked at Old Devil Fire Wolf with a faint smile. Old Devil Fire Wolf said, that, I also have disciples outside. If I go out they can take care of me. Don't I need you to take care of me here? That extra person. Old Devil Fire Wolf said, oh, you still need someone to take care of you? That's so troublesome. It seems that I'll just kill you. Elder Heaven Ancestor said with a smile. Old Devil Fire Wolf was so scared that his face changed and immediately said, oh, don't. I don't need anyone to take care of me. Not only do I not need anyone to take care of me, but I can also take care of others. Oh, but we don't need anyone to take care of us. Xiao Qin and Elder Heaven Ancestor had a tacit understanding. He knew that Elder Heaven Ancestor was scaring this kid, so he cooperated and said, Elder Heaven Ancestor, he's useless. It's better to kill him. How can I leave someone who wants to possess me alive? Old Devil Fire Wolf was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He quickly begged for mercy. Oh, don't. Hero, spare my life. Hero, just now your master, Elder Heaven Ancestor, said that I'm useful. You can't kill me. I'm so useful. Oh? Elder Heaven Ancestor, is this person still useful? Xiao Qin asked. It's useful. I see that this primordial spirit is at the foundation establishment stage. We can refine him into a ghost talisman devil. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Ghost talisman devil? What's that? Xiao Qin didn't quite understand. Simply put, it's a pet that you play in the game. Do you understand now? Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. Oh, I understand. It can be used in battle, right? Xiao Qin roughly understood what Elder Heaven Ancestor meant. But can he help me fight? You can refine him into a ghost talisman devil. He can't live without you. He can only be controlled by you. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. That's a good idea. How do I refine him? Xiao Qin nodded and asked. Old Devil Fire Wolf was listening on the side. His face was pale. He was a little dumbfounded. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said that it was useful. This was turning him into a slave. This was not much better than killing him, right? Chapter 574. No, don't. You two heroes, you see that I'm weak. You should find someone stronger to refine into a demon. I'm too weak. Old Demon Fire Wolf was terrified. Oh. If I fight, won't I be embarrassing you, great hero? Oh, it doesn't matter. Demons can also be upgraded. If you perform well, I can help you upgrade. Elder Heaven Ancestor smiled indifferently. I'll give you two choices. One is to become a demon. What about the other? Old Demon Fire Wolf quickly asked. Of course it's to die, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Is there no other choice? Old Demon Fire Wolf was very unwilling. Definitely not. Elder Heaven Ancestor shook his head. You wanted to possess my disciple. I'm already letting you go by refining you into a demon. Sigh. My life is so miserable. Old Demon Fire Wolf was a little helpless. Although he was unwilling, he had no other choice. He could only agree. All right then. It's better to live than to die. That's right. If you perform well, you'll be useless in a few years. I'll give you back your freedom, Elder Heaven Ancestor said in a bewitching tone. Really? Old Demon Fire Wolf was very happy. Of course. Elder Heaven Ancestor turned to look at Xiao Qin. If you don't believe me, ask him. Have I, Elder Heaven Ancestor, ever deceived people? No. Xiao Qin shook his head. Okay, then I believe you. Go ahead and refine. How do you want me to cooperate? Old Demon Fire Wolf asked. In a while, I'll let Xiao Qin wake up first. Then use your voice and this body to order your two disciples to find some materials. Do you hear me? Elder Heaven Ancestor said. If anything goes wrong, I'll kill you. Got it? Old Demon Fire Wolf said helplessly. Okay, Xiao Qin, now close your eyes and take a deep breath. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Xiao Qin did as he was told and he woke up. He found that he was lying in the small dark room from before, and there was an array around him, but it didn't matter what it was, the important thing was that he was fine. Xiao Qin stood up and opened the door of the small house. He saw Taoist Lu Li and Taoist Tai Shan standing anxiously at the door. When they saw Xiao Qin wake up and open the door, they couldn't help but be delighted. However, they still probed, Xiaoqin, why did you faint just now? Alright, stop pretending. Taishan Luli, I'm already awake. Old demon fire wolf in Xiaoqian's body said directly. He didn't dare to not say it. Elder Heaven Ancestor was watching from the side. He felt that if he said one wrong word, Elder Heaven Ancestor could destroy him. For some reason, after Xiaoqian's primordial spirit entered his sea of consciousness, he could clearly feel the situation in his sea of consciousness. He could also see Elder Heaven Ancestor and Old Demon Fire Wolf. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Taoist Taishan was overjoyed. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Taoist Luli was also overjoyed. My primordial spirit hasn't completely fused yet. Get me some materials, I want to fuse them. Although Old Demon Fire Wolf's voice was incomparably majestic, his heart was bleeding as he spoke. No problem, Martial Uncle, please instruct me. Taoist Taishan said quickly. Go and prepare the blood-withered vine, heavenly hemp banana, star fragment stone. Xiaoqin listed out some rare natural treasures. However, these things could be bought in Lan City's martial artists market, so it was not difficult. Alright, Luli, go and make the arrangements. Buy Martial Uncle's things as soon as possible. Taoist Taishan felt a little strange. Didn't Old Demon Fire Wolf ask him to prepare some treasures for fusing primordial spirit? Why did he ask him to prepare them again this time? However, he didn't dare to ask too much. He directly got Luli to carry out the task. Taoist Luli went out and found his disciple Emoji. He told him to go to the warrior market and buy these things no matter the price. Money was not a problem. Martial Uncle, how do you feel? Is this body alright? Taoist Taishan asked carefully. Not bad. Old Demon Fire Wolf thought to himself. Not bad, my ass. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have possessed this kid even if I was beaten to death. That's good. By the way, Martial Uncle, do you still have Xiaoqiang's memories in your body? Taoist Taishan asked. Don't slander Xiaoqiang. He has already fused with me and become one person. Xiaoqin imitated Old Demon Fire Wolf's voice and interjected. He and I are one person now. Don't do anything to Su Chuxia and the rest in the future, understand? This. Taoist Taishan was taken aback and quickly said, got it. Although he was very puzzled, he didn't dare to go against Martial Uncle's wishes. Since Martial Uncle said so, then so be it. However, why did Martial Uncle fuse with Xiaoqiang? Wasn't it a possession? Shouldn't it be a replacement? However, with the previous stern reprimand, he didn't dare to ask again. He only sat at the side carefully. Taishan, I heard that you are raising funds to build a Taoist temple? Xiaoqin asked. This, Martial Uncle, actually building a Taoist temple is fake. The real expense is the formation that protects your primordial spirit. We need to continuously invest a large amount of money to maintain it. We can still fork out the money to repair the Taoist temple ourselves. Taoist Taishan explained, however, we don't need to maintain this formation in the future. Naturally, there won't be such a large expenditure. Martial Uncle said that we won't be dealing with the Su family, so we won't be participating in this mission for the time being. Xiaoqin nodded. Alright, you can go first. I want to rest alone. Xiaoqin waved his hand at Taoist Taishan. Emoji happily went to the warrior guild and bought all the things that Xiaoqin needed from the warrior market. After returning to the Taoist temple, Xiaoqin got everyone to leave after receiving them. Refining a ghost talisman demon was a very cruel thing. It turned a primordial spirit into a slave. Unless the primordial spirit was willing, the process would be quite painful for both the primordial spirit and the refiner. Fortunately, Elder Heaven Ancestor had deceived this old devil fire wolf to become Xiaoqian's ghost talisman demon. This way both of them could save some pain. Xiaoqin placed all the materials in front of him. Under a huge cauldron, a raging fire was burning. This was the true Samadhi fire wolf that Xiaoqin had activated. This huge cauldron was the treasure cauldron of the Heavenly Purity Temple. It was the treasure of the temple. Old Devil Fire Wolf didn't expect that one day he would be refined into a demon using this huge cauldron. Xiaoqin followed the instructions of Elder Heaven Ancestor. While activating the true Samadhi Fire Wolf, he threw the materials prepared by Emoji into the huge cauldron one by one. Then he closed the lid of the cauldron. Sounds of refining and fusion could be heard coming from the huge cauldron. It was very terrifying. After a while, Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice sounded in Xiaoqian's ears. It's done. I will now seal this little guy's primordial spirit and force it out of your body. Then you can throw it into the huge cauldron. Xiaoqin nodded. Although Old Devil Fire Wolf was trembling with fear, he didn't dare to disobey. After all, Elder Heaven Ancestor controlled his life and death. If he didn't agree, Elder Heaven Ancestor wouldn't just seal him, but directly kill him. Old Devil Fire Wolf could only accept his fate. He cursed in his heart, "Little guy, just you wait. When I'm done, I will definitely break away from your control and possess your body. Then, I will refine you and Elder Heaven Ancestor's primordial spirit into my ghost talisman Devil Head." As he was thinking, Old Devil Fire Wolf was forced out of Xiao Chen's body by Elder Heaven Ancestor. Xiao Chen saw an illusory white light that seemed to be surrounded by a bubble. It slowly rose into the air. Xiao Chen didn't dare to be negligent. He grabbed it and stuffed it into the huge cauldron. Then he closed the lid of the cauldron again. The true Samadhi Fire Wolf was quickly activated, and the huge cauldron once again emitted a buzzing sound. Accompanied by Old Devil Fire Wolf's shrill screams, the buzzing sound inside the huge cauldron became even louder. The entire huge cauldron swayed back and forth, making clanging sounds. As for Xiao Chen, he didn't care about that. He only followed the method taught to him by Elder Heaven Ancestor and activated the true Samadhi Fire Wolf. He didn't dare to use it for even a moment. After 3 hours, the buzzing sound inside the huge cauldron gradually subsided, and the shrill screams also gradually stopped. Xiao Chen knew that the devil head had been successfully refined. He slowly put away the true Samadhi fire. This time, refining the devil head had really overdrawn his physical strength. He was now almost at the end of his rope. "Not bad, you persevered. If you couldn't hold on, I was ready to take over at any time." Elder Heaven Ancestor's encouraging voice sounded in Xiao Chen's ear. "Ha, Elder Heaven Ancestor, you finally praised me," Xiao Chen said with a smile. "Now, can you open the lid of the cauldron?" "Yes," Elder Heaven Ancestor said with certainty. Xiao Chen reached out and grabbed the lid of the cauldron and opened it. A humanoid figure suddenly flew out of the cauldron. Its appearance was unexpectedly that wretched man that Xiao Chen saw in his divine sense space. "Master, Old Devil Fire Wolf pays respect to Master." Although Old Devil Fire Wolf was unwilling, he now felt that his life was closely related to Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen wanted him to die, he absolutely wouldn't be able to live. There was no other way, he could only bow his head. "Not bad. Elder Heaven Ancestor, how powerful is this devil head?" Xiao Chen asked. "His strength is at the foundation establishment stage, but before that, he was in the primordial spirit state. Even if he refined a devil head, it should only be at the 7th or 8th level of chi refining stage. It shouldn't be too high." Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "Master, I'm very powerful, okay? I can at least fight against a martial master now," Old Devil Fire Wolf said. And he didn't lie about this. Elder Heaven Ancestor nodded. A devil head is similar to a cultivator. It's not strange for a martial master to fight someone of a higher level. Of course, it depends on the level of the martial master. He can deal with an ordinary martial master, but he can't deal with a powerful one. "Oh, that's not bad. Elder Heaven Ancestor, where does he usually go? He can't just follow me like this, right? If I bring him out, people will be scared to death." Xiao Chen looked at the illusory humanoid figure and was somewhat speechless. If people who didn't know the truth saw this, they would think that it was a ghost. Chapter 575. You can put him in your divine sense space. He stays with me normally. When you need him to come out and help you fight, you can let him out, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "Oh, that Hua. What's that? Your name is too long to say. I'll change it to Wang Kai from now on," Xiao Chen said. "Master, this name. Why does it sound like a dog?" Old Demon Fire Wolf said with a sad face. "Oh, aren't you just my dog?" Xiao Chen retorted. That being said, since Master is so awesome, you should give your dog a more domineering name, right?" Old Demon Fire Wolf quickly said with a smile. "What you said makes sense." Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Then I'll call you Universe Super Invincible Dog." After saying that, Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. He could not help but think of the first young mistress. In the courtyard of the villa, the first young mistress had her hands on her waist and reached out to poke him as she lectured him word by word. "Wrong. It's Universe Super Invincible Dog, not Invincible Super Dog." Thinking of Miss Xiao Chen's heart was a little heavy. I wonder how she is now. "Master, this name is a bit too domineering. Universe Super Invincible Dog, doesn't that surpass Master?" Old Demon Fire Wolf secretly complained. "Why is this still a dog name? What's your original name?" Xiao Chen didn't want to give him this name. Old Demon Fire Wolf quickly replied respectfully, "My name is Old Demon Fire Wolf." What's your real name? Xiao Qin asked. My real name? It's been too long I can't remember. I think it's in something. Old Demon Fire Wolf was fascinated. He thought of his youth, but it was already so far away that he couldn't even remember it. It's been too long, he said with emotion. Oh, then I'll call you Little Demon, and Xiao Qin said, how about this name? All right. When Old Demon Fire Wolf heard this, he immediately agreed. No matter what, this was much better than Wang Kai and Invincible Dog. At the very least, it was a normal person's name. Although it wasn't very ideal, he didn't dare to change it. If Xiao Qin suddenly had a strange idea and gave him a name like Lai Fu or Go Leftovers, it would be better than this. All right, Little Demon, and you can go back, Xiao Qin ordered Old Demon Fire Wolf. Yes, master. And Xiaomo responded and returned to Xiao Qian's divine sense space. Xiao Qin thought that this demon had been successfully refined, but he had to find a chance to test it out next time to see how its combat power was. If it was too weak, he could only take it out to scare people. It wouldn't be of much use. Ahem, Taishan Luli, come in. Xiao Qin accepted and Little Demon, then opened the door and instructed the people outside. Martial Granduncle. Martial Uncle. Taoist Taishan and Taoist Luli didn't dare to leave. They had been waiting outside the door. When they heard Xiao Qin calling for them, they quickly walked in. You two keep the matter of my possession a secret. However, I still have the identity of Xiao Chang. I still have to return to Su Chuxia's side to protect her. Do you hear me? Xiao Qin said to the two disciples. Ah. Taishan and Luli were taken aback. They asked at the same time, Martial Uncle, Ancestor, with your current strength, there is no need to do this, right? That won't do. Do you know? This Xiao Chang's true identity is the team leader of Team C of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Now that I have fused with his primordial spirit, if the people of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau find out, they will definitely not forgive our Tianqing Temple. Xiao Qin said alarmingly, so, I have to continue this identity. I see. Martial Uncle Ancestor is wise. The two nodded in unison after listening. Alright, then I'll leave first. By the way, where's the gold bar? Move my car up. Xiao Qin said. Luli and Taishan were taken aback. Martial Uncle, Ancestor, why do you still need the gold bar? I said that I came out to take the gold bar. I didn't take anything back. How am I going to explain it? Xiao Qin said with a cold expression, why? You dare to question my words? I haven't taught you a lesson for so many years, right? We don't dare, we don't dare. The two begged for mercy. Martial Uncle, Ancestor, we will do it now. And that's more like it. Xiao Qin nodded. By the way, Martial Uncle, Ancestor, the gold bar. There are a few 100 liters in the trunk of your car. They are all filled. Can carry a few tons of gold. Do you want to carry all of them? Taoist Luli and Taoist Taishan asked. Damn, you guys are so rich? Xiao Qin was a little surprised. If you pack so much, won't my car collapse? Just pack it according to the price of 1 million. Wasn't this gold left by Martial Uncle, Ancestor, back then? The two of them were a little puzzled. Oh, then hurry up and pack it, Xiao Qin said with a wave of his hand. Yes, Martial Uncle, Ancestor. The two of them responded and went to carry out the task. 1 million gold was calculated to be 200 yuan per gram, which was 5 grams, which was just a few gold bars. Very quickly the car was loaded. Xiao Qin drove the car and left. This 1 million gold was nothing to Xiao Qin. On the way back to school, he felt that it was time to say goodbye to Su Chuxia and Tianyu. He could also hand in the mission of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, because of Martial Uncle, Ancestor. Instructions. Taoist Luli and Taoist Taishan discussed for a while and immediately called Yukio Yashima and Kai Lehu to cancel the cooperation. Mr. Kai, I can't deal with Xiao Chang on my side. I think it's better to forget about the cooperation. Our heavenly pure monastery will not participate. This time we suffered heavy losses. Xiao Chang even swindled us of 1 million in compensation. Taoist Luli said with a bitter face, I have lost all the money you gave me. What? You don't want to participate? Kai Lehu was stunned. How can we not participate? He quickly said, that's not right. Taoist Luli, didn't we agree to deal with him together? But Xiao Chang is really not easy to deal with. He has already said that if our heavenly pure monastery dares to cause trouble for him again, he will set fire to our heavenly pure monastery. Moreover, he didn't look for you but looked for us. It's too sad, said Taoist Luli. I see. Kai Lehu was a little speechless after listening. He also knew Xiao Chang's character, so when he heard this, he knew that it was useless to force him. He didn't want to play anymore, so he could only say, well, since Taoist Lu Li doesn't want to participate, then forget it. Okay, then I will call Yukio Yashima again, said Taoist Lu Li. No need. He is with me. I will tell him, said Kai Lehu. Alright, let's cooperate again in the future if there is a chance, said Taoist Lu Li. Kai Lehu hung up the phone and frowned. Originally, the research base's information was not easy to get. Now that the Heavenly Pure Monastery didn't want to participate, it was even more difficult for them. What's wrong, Lehu Jun? What's the problem? Asked Yukio Yashima. AI, Taoist Lu Li doesn't want to play anymore? As he spoke, he told Kai Lehu the news he had just received. Xiao Chang is really powerful. It is normal for him not to play anymore. We are interested in the Research Institute's information, but Taoist Lu Li is just doing it for money, so he doesn't need to work so hard. We are different. Yukio Yashima could understand after listening. He nodded and said, however, Lehu Jun, I came this time with good news. The impact of your bad news can also be offset. Oh, what good news? Kai Lehu was stunned and asked quickly. This is the case. The European Claryman family came. They are also interested in the research base's information. Yukio Yashima said, they contacted me and want to join our cooperation. Claryman family? What is that? Kai Lehu was stunned. He had never heard of such a family. In the local town of Lego in Europe, the Claryman family is similar to Lehu Jun's Kai family in Lan City, said Yukio Yashima. Oh, it turns out to be the Black family. Kai Lehu understood this time and nodded. What capabilities do they have? How many warriors and martial artists do they have? They have warriors. On their side, warriors are called martial knights, and martial artists are called martial riders. However, there are not many of them. This time only a few martial knights came, said Yukio Yashima. That's useless. Kai Lehu shook his head. We are not their opponents, let alone a few more warriors. That's not true. They have firearms. Yukio Yashima smiled and said, they are a family in the firearms business. This time they came here illegally and brought a lot of lethal weapons. We can directly rob the research base. Oh? That's risky. Kai Lehu frowned after listening, but he was obviously a little tempted. There is a risk, but how can there be no risk? Yukio Yashima said, as long as we can get the information, it's okay to pay some price. But if we use firearms, it's not convenient for the Kai family to participate. After all, our foundation is in Lan City. If the Supernatural Investigation Bureau gets hold of this, we won't be able to bear the consequences. Kai Lehu said with some worry, previously we could say that we were doing things according to the rules of the underworld. But now, if we use weapons to rob, it's not something that the people of the underworld should do. If something happens, no one will stand up for the Kai family. Lehu Jun, don't worry. It will definitely be the Claryman family who will be the vanguard. We will just be supporting them. Yukio Yashima said. No, we can't do anything. The people of the Kai family must not appear. This is the bottom line. Kai Lehu shook his head. You don't know. We used force before, so the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wouldn't do anything to us. If we used firearms and implicated our Kai family, they could just bring an armored car over and bombard our Kai family. I'd be dead. Yukio Yashima nodded and said, in that case I will be supporting them. After it's done, Lehu Jun only needs to help us leave Lan City safely. You don't have to worry about anything else. I think Lehu Jun should be able to do this, right? Chapter 576. That's not a problem at all. Kai Lehu agreed without hesitation. The Kai family had been operating in the underworld of Lan City for many years, so they were confident in transferring people. Hence, he agreed without hesitation. This way, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would not have any evidence to prove that the Kai family was involved and could not do anything to them. Okay, then I'll contact the people from the Claryman family. Yorishima Kikuo actually did not want to bring the people from the Claryman family. After all, they had already figured out the terrain and the route. The Claryman family had just arrived, but they were already there. He naturally felt uncomfortable. However, now that Heavenly Clear Temple had withdrawn, he had to find a new partner. He did not care about this. Anyway, the people from the Claryman family would be the vanguard. Kai Lehu nodded and said, well, sure. I've also arranged the route and method to leave the city. Once you succeed, I'll send you out. After the two of them had finished discussing, Nishima Kiru left to look for the people from the Klarman family to plan. This time, the Klarman family had sent one of the Klarman family's heirs, Vikings Klarman, to Lon City. Although he was not the first in line, the success or failure of his mission would add to his future. Although he was capable, he did not have enough time. It was said that the research was now coming to an end. In a few days, the information would be sealed and sent to the higher-ups. When that time came, it would be useless to come again. The research base would be gone. Hence, he was eager to find people to cooperate with. After asking around, he found Yorishima Kikuo and wanted to join. In order to get the other party to agree, he did not hesitate to promise his own people to be the vanguard and act as cannon fodder. Anyway, the Klarman family had many small disciples. Before these people came, they had given their families a large sum of money to be used as sacrificial warriors, so there was nothing to be afraid of. On the other side, Vikings received a positive reply from Yorishima Kikuo. He immediately became happy and waited for his arrival. After a while, Yorishima Kikuo arrived at Vikings' residence. "Welcome, Mr. Yorishima. I've heard a lot about you," Vikings said politely as he welcomed Yorishima Kikuo into the house. "Haha, Mr. Vikings, you're too kind. We're all the same kind of people, so let's forget about these empty words. I also know that you people in Europe like to get straight to the point and not beat around the bush, right?" Yorishima Kikuo said with a smile. Vikings nodded and said, "That's right, Mr. Ujima. I'm here to cooperate with the Sakura group and seize the data of the research base together. I've discussed it with my partner, Mr. Kai Lehu. Initially there are no problems, but the main problem is, what can you provide? Or rather, what can you do in a collaboration? As you know, I've been working hard for a long time, and I'm about to reap the rewards. It's so refreshing to talk to Mr. Knight Island. What I can provide is manpower and weapons." Vikings said, "As long as Mr. Knight Island provides the map of the research base and the location of the data, I think my people will be able to get the data smoothly." "Sure, no problem." Yorishima Kikuo nodded and said, "That's exactly what I'm lacking on my side. The map of the research base has been sorted out after a lot of hard work and reports from our insider. I don't know when Mr. Vikings will take action, but when the time comes, our insider can provide support." "Anytime." Vikings smiled and said confidently, "The people I've recruited are all trained by retired mercenary experts. All of them are good at assaulting. As long as we have the map, we can study it." "That's great. Let's do it tonight. In order to avoid any accidents, we won't have any hope if the research base hands over the data," Yorishima Kikuo said happily. "That's not a problem, but Mr. Knight Island, what is your insider responsible for in the research base?" Vikings asked. "It must be a key department. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to sort out the map. You must know that none of the staff inside could have such a great ability." Yorishima Kikuo smiled and said, "This person is a technician in the security monitoring room. With the advantage of being able to view and operate the monitoring, he can summarize the topographic map of the research base and know where the core confidential data is located." It seems that my cooperation with Mr. Knight Island is really wise. We have a clear division of labor." Vikings was overjoyed after hearing this. He didn't expect Yorishima Kikuo to be so powerful that he actually had his own people in the monitoring room. This is also a coincidence. They just imported a set of relatively advanced monitoring equipment and are recruiting excellent computer talents from the society. This person has been a spy trained by a subsidiary company of our Sakura group since he was in college, so it's just the right time to use him," Yorishima Kikuo said with a smile. "When you go, I can ask him to help destroy the monitoring. We have never used this person before and he has no criminal record. He will definitely succeed." "That's great. This way we can smoothly break through without much effort." Vikings nodded happily. "There is one more important problem. How are we going to evacuate after we obtain the data? I'm afraid the whole city will be under martial law, right?" Yorishima Kikuo was afraid that Vikings didn't understand, so he explained, "That's for sure. However, my partner, Mr. Kai Lehu, is a local tyrant in Lon City. The Kai family is in Lon City just like the Klarman family is in Lego Town." "Then it doesn't matter." Vikings nodded and said, "All right, I'll take action with my men tonight." After school, Xiao Chen's car was waiting at the entrance of the college. After a while, Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring came out. Xiao Chen had already contacted them beforehand and told them that he would be waiting at the entrance of the college. Tian Xiaoring walked over, opened the door and looked inside the car. Su Chuxia walked over and asked curiously, "What are you looking at?" "The gold bar." "Where is it?" Tian Xiaoring asked. Oh, it's in the trunk. Xiao Chen got out of the car, opened the trunk and took out a bag of gold bars. He handed it to Tian Xiaoring and said, I promise to give it to you. Ah, it's so heavy. Tian Xiaoring saw that the gold bars weren't big, but she didn't expect them to be so heavy. She almost dropped them on the ground. Of course, the gold is definitely heavy. Otherwise, why would people commit suicide by swallowing gold in the past? Xiao Chen was shocked when he said this because he saw Tian Xiaoring stuff the gold bar into her mouth. He quickly said, but don't eat it. Ah, I can't. I'll bite it and see if it's real. Tian Xiaoring said. Xiaoring, why are you so unhygienic? This isn't right. Moreover, you shouldn't accept such an expensive thing. Su Chuxia said. Aya, this is given by Sister Sour's boyfriend. Why can't I accept it? I can even accept diamonds. Tian Sour said disapprovingly, don't worry about our relationship, Chuxia. Okay. Su Chuxia shook her head helplessly. In the car, looking at the happy Tian Xiaoring and the speechless Su Chuxia, Xiao Chen wanted to say that he was leaving several times, but in the end he didn't say it. He didn't want to ruin the atmosphere. He dragged the car back to the courtyard of his house. Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring had already gotten out of the car, but he still didn't say it. It seemed like he could only talk about it tomorrow morning. Xiao Chen went back to rest. However, in the middle of the night, he unexpectedly received a call from Song Huawu. However, it was Xia Shibin's voice that came through the phone. He said anxiously, Team Leader, bad news? The research base was ambushed at night. Deputy Team Leader Song was seriously injured and is now in the hospital. What? Xiao Chen was stunned. He was a little shocked. Even Heavenly Clear Temple had withdrawn from the operation. With the strength of the two people from the Sakura group and the motley crew from Kai Lehu's family, they could actually ambush the research base and injure Song Huawu. This was simply unbelievable. Putting aside how these people broke through the defense, one had to know that the patrolling guards in the research base were all armed. Logically speaking, even if these people rushed in, they would be shot to death. There was no need for Song Huawu to fight them head-on, right? The research data was stolen. Team Leader Song's condition is very serious. One of his legs was blown off. The doctors in the hospital said that it might not be reattached. Not only that, the remaining leg will also have to be amputated. Xia Shibin said anxiously. What happened? What did you say? How is this possible? Xiao Chen was completely shocked this time. Song Huawu was actually injured so badly? Did the other party have a very powerful master? Team leader, the other party used a lot of lethal firearms. They forced their way in through the gate of the research base. They used rocket launchers and explosives. The other party's firepower was very fierce. Our security guards were equipped with ordinary pistols. They were no match for them at all. Under the other party's attack, we were forced to retreat. Xia Shibin explained. As for Team Leader Song, he was trying to save those scientists. This group of thugs was obviously desperate. They rushed in and wanted to blow up the scientists' dormitory. They threw a grenade over. Fortunately, Team Leader Song reacted quickly and kicked the grenade away. Unfortunately, he was still affected by the aftershock of the explosion. Now he is in danger. What happened to the research base? Xiao Chen was shocked. Who are these people? Are they the people of Midnight Island Kishio and Kai Lehu? I don't think so. Judging from their figures, they should be Westerners, not Easterners. Xia Shibin said, they have already succeeded. Our people are no match for them at all. I just sent Team Leader Song to the hospital and quickly called you to report. Chapter 577. After listening to Xia Shibin's report, Xiao Chen suddenly felt a little strange. Where did this group of people come from? Since they were Westerners, how could there be no signs? They just directly made their move? There was no scouting or investigation. Team leader, it's like this. We didn't expect that someone would suddenly attack at night, but the monitoring department didn't give any warning in advance. Moreover, when the incident happened, they turned off the monitoring and alarm system, causing someone to invade. We couldn't respond in time. Xia Shibin said, after that, a technician on duty in charge of monitoring disappeared. It should be him who did it. He escaped with those people. Immediately report the situation to Deputy Bureau Chief Xia Zhili, and then thoroughly investigate the identity of that technician. Block all the main roads in the city and trace the origins of those Westerners. Xiao Chen directly ordered Xia Shibin. Also, where is Hua Wu? In the city's first hospital. I'm here too. Xia Shibin said. Okay, I'll be there right away. Xiao Qin was actually most worried about Song Huawu. As for the information, it actually had nothing to do with him. The reason why he was so concerned was not because he wanted to disguise his identity, but because he had a passion for his country. The information of the Xia kingdom had been stolen by outsiders. He couldn't ignore it when he saw it. That was why he gave instructions to Xia Shibin. Yes, team leader. Xia Shibin quickly responded. Xiao Qin went downstairs and quickly drove to the first hospital. In the hospital's emergency department, he saw Xia Shibin with an anxious face. When he saw Xiao Qin, he immediately walked over. Team leader, although the doctors tried their best to save him, it was said that there was not much hope. And? Xiao Qin nodded with a serious expression. He turned to look at Xia Shibin and asked, "What did Deputy Bureau Chief Xia say?" He said that his duty is to protect the Su family from harm. As for the security of the research base, it is the responsibility of another Deputy Bureau Chief. It has little to do with him, so we don't have to worry, Xia Shibin said. Xiao Qin was a little speechless. The Xia Zhili was really a talent. Such a big matter, but he was indifferent. I really wonder how he sat in this position. However, the situation in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was also different. Some people with special abilities and great strength would be specially promoted and entrusted with important tasks. It was actually quite impossible to count on these people to do things wholeheartedly. At this time, a doctor hurried over. When he saw Xiao Qin and Xia Shibin, he said, "Who can make the decision?" The patient's right leg could not be reattached, and the left leg had to be amputated due to the severity of the injury. If you have no objections, please sign the notice. This, Team Leader Yang, what do you think? Xia Shibin couldn't make the decision, so he waited for Xiao Qin to make the decision. The surgery is over. All the doctors should leave. I will go in by myself. Xia Shibin, you guard the door for me. Xiao Qin said directly. This doesn't comply with the regulations. The doctor was stunned and said, "Although I know that you may be from the police, but..." The doctor saw that Xia Shibin's waist was bulging. It was obvious that he was carrying a gun. This kind of person who dared to carry a gun in public was probably only from the police. Xia Shibin showed his ID. These doctors were knowledgeable and often dealt with people from the special department. They recognized Xia Shibin's ID. They hesitated for a moment and nodded. Okay, I will inform the director. After a while, a middle-aged woman wearing glasses walked quickly and said, "Let me introduce myself. I am the deputy director on duty at the first hospital. My surname is Fu. I have already arranged it. The doctors in the operating room have all left. Now you can take over." "Thank you, Director Fu." Xiao Qin nodded and didn't say much. He asked Xia Shibin to wait at the door and he entered the operating room alone. The situation in the operating room was terrible. However, Song Huawu actually didn't use anesthesia. At this moment, she was still awake. This made Xiao Qin a little surprised. Similarly, Song Huawu was also a little puzzled. Why did these doctors and nurses leave? Is there no hope for me? It was Song Huawu's own request not to use anesthesia. She was a martial artist, and her endurance was very strong. Naturally, she didn't need that thing. Hearing footsteps, Song Huawu looked and saw that it was actually Xiao Qin. "It's you?" Song Huawu's voice was a little weak. "Can I save my leg?" She heard the doctor say it, so although it was difficult to accept at the moment, there was no other way. At this moment, she thought that Xiao Qin came to comfort her. "Let me see." Xiao Qin looked at the bloody scene in front of him and frowned. Originally, he thought that he could use his essence to heal others. However, Song Huawu's leg had been blasted off. How was he supposed to heal her? He had never encountered such a situation before. It seemed that there were some places that were missing flesh and bones. Obviously, they were blown up. How could this be treated? It's okay if I see something I shouldn't see, right? Xiao Qin didn't make a move. Instead, he asked. No. Song Huawu shook her head, but her face was slightly red. She knew what Xiao Qin was talking about. Her injury was on her leg, so if Xiao Qin wanted to see it, he would naturally see it too. However, Song Huawu didn't care so much at the moment. She didn't know why Xiao Qin wanted to see it. Xiao Qin opened the list and took a look. However, he didn't feel anything strange, nor did he think about anything he shouldn't. This was because the situation in front of him was extremely bloody. He frowned, but he couldn't think of a good solution. Elder Heaven Ancestor, can I still use my chi to treat this situation? Xiao Qin asked uncertainly. Obviously not. You don't have that ability yet. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, if she was only injured and didn't have a broken limb, it wouldn't be a problem. However, I'm afraid it's not possible now. Then, Xiao Chen's head sank. This wasn't the result he wanted. Although he hadn't known Song Huawu for long, he had a good impression of her. This girl had always helped him. Now that she was in trouble, how could Xiao Chen not help her? Right. As Xiao Chen frowned, he suddenly thought of a situation. Taoist Lu Li was almost killed by Wang Fantian, but he was fine the next day. How did he recover? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen asked directly, "Little demon in? Master, why are you looking for little demon in?" In the spiritual sense space, old demon Fire Wolf asked Xiao Chen with a fawning expression. Lu Li was almost turned into meat paste. How did he recover the next day? Did you treat him? Asked Xiao Chen. He took the fairy water. That fairy water was refined by Taishan with a spirit gathering array under my guidance. The effect is very good, said in Little Demon. Is there anything else? Asked Xiao Chen. Yes, there should be some left, said in Little Demon. Can the broken limb be reattached? Asked Xiao Chen. There is some effect, but the effect may not be as good as Lu Li's, said in Little Demon. Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief after listening. It didn't matter if the effect was bad. As long as it could be reattached, the rest would be left to his qi. As long as it was reattached, everything would be easy. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen directly dialed Taoist Lu Li's phone number. Lu Li. Xiao Chen said, hurry up and come to the first hospital of Lan City. Bring me the remaining fairy water for your treatment. Hurry up. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you. What the F***? When Taoist Lu Li heard Xiao Chang's voice, he subconsciously wanted to curse, but he suddenly thought that Xiao Chang had become martial uncle. He quickly changed his words and said, Martial uncle, please wait a moment. I will go there immediately. Don't worry, I will go on the windfire wheels. Alright, hurry up. Xiao Chen didn't care about Taoist Lu Li's mantra. After hanging up the phone, he saw Song Huawu looking at him in surprise. She said, Xiao Chen, you said that you want Taoist Lu Li to bring you the fairy water? Why is he so obedient to you? It's a long story. I'll tell you when you're better. Don't talk for now. You just have to bear with it. Xiao Chen said. That's a long story. It's okay. I can endure it, but can I still recover? Song Huawu was a little surprised. Of course. Xiao Chen smiled and said, I am not that Yang Tan. I am Xiao Chen, a superpower user. Okay, I believe you. Song Huawu nodded and was happy. I thought I would never be able to stand up again. That can't be. Xiao Chen shook his head. You wait for me first. I will go and explain to Xia Shibin. And? Although Song Huawu was in great pain, she knew that she was saved. She was very happy in her heart. Xiao Chen turned around and left the operating room. Xia Shibin saw him and quickly asked, Team leader, how is it? Can Huawu be saved? And Taoist Lu Li has the fairy water. She can be saved. Xiao Chen didn't expose his own affairs. Instead, he gave all the credit to Taoist Lu Li's fairy water. He wasn't that close to Xia Shibin. You wait here. When Taoist Lu Li comes, call me. No problem. Xia Shibin nodded, but he was very surprised. Isn't Taoist Lu Li hostile to us? How can he come to deliver medicine? Also, what happened tonight has nothing to do with Tianqing Temple. However, it wasn't appropriate for him to ask these now because Xiao Chen had returned to the operating room. Xiao Chen saw Song Huawu grimacing in pain with a slight smile. He couldn't help but smile. Huawu, my identity is going to be exposed in the future. Will you leave the Supernatural Investigation Bureau with me? I can't. I can't leave here. Song Huawu shook her head. If my affairs are exposed, it will definitely implicate you and Xia Shibin. Xiao Chen said, will you stay here and die? I was an orphan when I was young. The person who adopted me was an instructor in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Although I never saw him again after I grew up and could join the training, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is my home for me. Song Huawu sighed. I won't betray the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Chapter 578. Then why didn't you expose me? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect Song Huawu to have such a background. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is not a one-man operation. I don't like what Yang Jianan and Xia Zhili did, so I won't expose you. Song Huawu shook her head. I know that these two people secretly cooperated with each other to fill their pockets. They did this, causing the cultivation resources of ordinary members to decrease. So, I am also very happy that you killed Yang Jianan. But because of my identity, I can't do it to my colleagues. You are loyal to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xiaoqin sighed. It was hard to say whether Song Huawu was stubborn or responsible. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is like my home. Song Huawu said faintly, it's just like your family. No matter what the family does to you, it is always your family. You can't abandon it. Maybe. Xiaoqin didn't comment on this. Families were also different. Although the Xiao family drove him out on the surface, they actually arranged everything secretly. So, Xiaoqin had a sense of belonging to the Xiao family, but it didn't mean that Tang Tang also had a sense of belonging to the Tang family. So, I have to stay here unless the Supernatural Investigation Bureau fires me. Song Huawu said, today is the same. I know that I may be injured, but I still stick to the responsibility in my heart. I was ordered to protect the research base, so I will do my best until my death. Xiaoqin couldn't understand Song Huawu's mentality. Because he grew up in an environment where he was ridiculed and plotted against, he was full of vigilance against the people around him. Therefore, Xiaoqin's character was not that enthusiastic. He would help his friends, but he would not help strangers for no reason. That was because it had nothing to do with him. When he was being mocked and framed, there were no strangers who helped him. Although Xiaoqin knew that his character was not very sunny, he didn't care about it. He lived for himself, to find his missing parents, to make his friends and women live a better life, not to be seen by others. All right, if you have your own ideas, I won't force you. Xiaoqin nodded. At this time his cell phone rang. He took a look and saw that it was Xia Shibin. It was probably Taoist Lu Li. Xiaoqin walked out of the operating room. Sure enough, he saw Taoist Lu Li standing at the door, panting heavily. Oh my god, I ran so fast. Who's Xiao Bai? Xiaoqin asked. Greetings, sure. Young hero. Taoist dearly almost made a slip of the tongue. I'm not talking about anyone. I almost vomited blood while running here as fast as I could. You ran here? Xiaoqin was shocked. What kind of speed was this? He had wanted to ask this earlier. It would take 2 hours to drive from the Heavenly Purity Monastery to Lan City, but this Taoist Lu Li arrived in an hour. Did you really come here on the wind flame wheels? That's not true, but I can run very fast. Have you forgotten? My martial granduncle used to raise a swift as a flying spirit beast, and I was the one in charge of raising it. Taoist dearly thought that martial granduncle might have been in seclusion for too long and forgot about the swift. That fellow that Xiao Bai flew faster than that. I chased it all over the mountain. Oh my god, I'm even faster than the wind flame wheels. Xiaoqin was speechless. Old Devil Fire Wolf had a swift? He really didn't know. However, Xiaoqin knew about the swift. It was said that there was a type of sharp-tailed swift that flew faster than a sports car, whizzing at more than 300 kilometers per hour. Wouldn't it be even faster if it was a spirit beast? No wonder Taoist dearly was so confident. Alright, where's the immortal water? Xiaoqin asked. It's here. Taoist Lu Li took out a small bottle from his bosom and then sat to the side, panting heavily. Oh my god, that little swallow is flying even faster. I'm so tired that I almost vomited blood. You could have just run by yourself. Why did you chase after that swift? Xiaoqin was a little puzzled. If I don't chase after it, I won't be able to run fast. Isn't this the motivation? Taoist Lu Li said. Xiaoqin returned to the operating theater with the divine water. You're back? I'm saved? Song Huawu was pleasantly surprised to see Xiaoqin return. Well, bear with it later. Xiaoqin said, I'm going to start. Well, it doesn't matter. I can bear it. Song Huawu smiled confidently. Little demon, and how do you use this thing? Xiaoqin asked. Master, you just need to apply the immortal water to the affected area and then reattach the severed limb. And little demon said, then use the demonic energy or internal force to inject it into the meridians of the entire leg. It can heal the wound quickly, but the effect depends on the compatibility of the demonic energy or internal force. Just like our heavenly pure monastery, Mount Tai and Deer Li's cultivation methods are similar, so their Taoist internal force is similar. That's why you can see that Deer Li is recovering faster. I see. Xiaoqin thought that in this case, his vitality should be more suitable. In this way, Song Huawu's injury should be no problem. According to An Little Demon's words, Xiaoqin applied the immortal water to Song Huawu's severed limb. Although Song Huawu was in pain, she didn't make a sound. She was obviously a very strong girl. This made Xiaoqin very impressed. He first reattached the severed limb and then applied it to the injured left leg. After that, he prepared to circulate his mental cultivation method and inject primordial energy into Song Huawu. However, Xiaoqin was a little confused. Little demon, and where is the root of the meridians in the leg? Naturally, it's at the root of the thigh, and little demon said. What are you saying? Are you saying that I'm ignorant? Xiaoqin snorted coldly. I wouldn't dare. Master, I know that Master is deliberately testing my intelligence. And little demon realized that his tone was wrong when he saw that Xiaoqin was angry. He hurriedly begged for mercy, afraid that Xiaoqin would destroy him. Xiaoqin didn't continue to pay attention to him. His main focus was on Song Huawu. However, the root of the thigh. This made Xiaoqin feel a little awkward. Some private parts could be seen due to the need for treatment, but reaching out to touch was a completely different matter. Other than being good friends, he and Song Huawu had no special relationship. In fact, he could even do it to Tian Suru, but Song Huawu, although it was healing, the relationship between the two of them would probably be strange. Moreover, was Song Huawu willing? Thinking of this, Xiaoqin was about to ask when Song Huawu asked curiously, Xiaoqin, what's wrong? Why don't you continue? Huawu, in the next step I might touch some places that I shouldn't touch. Xiaoqin hesitated and said. Oh. Song Huawu's face turned red. Although she didn't understand why Xiaoqin wanted to touch there, it wasn't the injured part. Her leg was broken from the middle of her thigh, but she also knew Xiaoqin's character. She knew that Xiaoqin wouldn't take advantage of her at this time for such a reason. Moreover, her lower body was bleeding. Normal people would be scared to death when they saw it. Who would have the mood to take advantage of her? Therefore Song Huawu said, It's fine. Go ahead. Xiaoqin nodded and took a deep breath. He extended his hands and clasped Song Huawu's seriously injured right leg. Song Huawu's body trembled because Xiaoqin's hand was pressing against her. Just now, Song Huawu didn't even tremble when she was reconnecting her severed leg. But this time it made her nervous. Xiaoqin also saw Song Huawu's situation. His actions paused, and he knew that it wasn't good for him to press against her. He said with a bitter smile, I'm sorry, it's nothing. Song Huawu shook her head. You are doing it for my own good. I'm not an unreasonable person. Only then did Xiaoqin relax and circulate the mental cultivation method. Song Huawu felt that the pain in her leg wasn't as intense as before. On the contrary, there was a warm and itchy feeling. At this moment, she was completely sure that Xiaoqin wasn't trying to take advantage of her at all. Instead, he was really helping her heal. Song Huawu was extremely grateful. Although she and Xiaoqin were good friends, she knew that devil qi was very important to cultivators for Xiaoqin to help her like this. Xiaoqin was obviously using his own devil qi to heal her. She reckoned that even Yang Tan, who was pursuing her, wouldn't do this at this time. Even if he took advantage of her, he wouldn't agree. Seeing that Song Huawu's wound was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye, Xiaoqin also heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that his speculation was right. With the effect of the immortal water and the help of his primordial qi, Song Huawu's injury could be healed. Of course, this was also because they had brought Song Huawu's severed limb. Without the severed limb, it would have been impossible for Xiaoqin to create the severed limb out of thin air. Time ticked by and Song Huawu's leg was also healed. Xiaoqin did the same for the other leg, but Song Huawu was clearly not as nervous as before. Xiaoqin, I feel that why were you called trash in the past? With your ability, you don't need to endure anything at all. Song Huawu was a little surprised that Xiaoqin seemed to know everything. In the past, would you believe me if I said that I didn't know anything? Xiaoqin said with a bitter smile, when you first saw me, I didn't hide my strength. In fact, it was that low. I couldn't even beat old demon Shishan. Yes. Song Huawu nodded. Then you are a genius. Xiaoqin didn't say anything. He knew best whether he was a genius or not. If he was placed in the martial cultivation world, he would be a super loser. However, if he was placed in the cultivator world, he might be a genius. The definition of a genius was limited to one field. No one could do everything. Chapter 579. Alright, how do you feel? Xiaoqin felt that Song Huawu's injuries had completely recovered. At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, a feeling of exhaustion surged throughout his body. Song Huawu's injuries were particularly serious, so he had consumed a lot of primordial qi. Although he was a cultivator at the 9th level of the qi refinement stage, at this moment all of his primordial qi had been consumed. The moment he relaxed, he felt a little dizzy. He didn't even have time to let go of Song Huawu before he directly laid down on top of her. And the place where Xiaoqin's head was hanging was right on top of his hand. Ah! Song Huawu was shocked. She thought that Xiao Chen had kissed her because he couldn't help it. She immediately became anxious and embarrassed. Although Xiao Chen was her savior, he couldn't act recklessly. Even if he had to ask her first. It was one thing to repay him with her body, but it was another thing to ignore him. What are you doing? Song Huawu's body was a little stiff. Although she was nervous, there was a strange feeling in her body. It was as if she liked Xiao Chen's behavior very much, but she felt that it should not be like this. However, in the next moment, Song Huawu felt that something was wrong. After Xiao Chen kissed her, there was no reaction, and he did not make any further movements. This made her a little puzzled. She propped herself up with both hands and saw that Xiao Chen's eyes were closed. His face was full of fatigue and his breathing was even as if he was asleep. Song Huawu was shocked. She wanted to call Xiao Chen, but she suddenly remembered that he must have spent a lot of physical strength and demonic qi to heal her. So now that he was resting for a while, she did not want to disturb him. Therefore, Song Huawu wanted to wait for Xiao Chen to wake up naturally. However, Xiao Chen's posture was too coquettish, especially his hand which was still placed there. It made Song Huawu's body involuntarily heat up. In the past, because she was injured and in pain, she didn't think too much about it. But now, Song Huawu couldn't help but think about erotic things. She was also a girl who had never experienced such things. In the past, she had been busy with missions and had never come into contact with men, so she did not feel anything. But now, Song Huawu suddenly realized that she had a feeling of wanting to resist, but also welcoming, which made her a little at a loss. Gradually, Song Huawu fell in love with this feeling, but was she a slut? Why do I like Xiao Chen like this? She was even looking forward to it. Xiao Chen wasn't doing this unintentionally, but intentionally. Song Huawu was shocked by her own thoughts. She quickly shook her head to stop herself from thinking about these trivial things. She began to ponder about today's events. Since Xiao Chen knew Lu Li and it seemed that the two groups had reconciled, the night attack was definitely not the work of Heavenly Purity Monastery. Could it be Kai Lehu and Yorishima Kizuo? That's possible, but when did they have such great strength and firepower? If they did, wouldn't it be better to just rob them? Why would they waste so much effort to kidnap the Su family? This time Xiao Chen did not completely pass out. He only entered the divine sense space. After entering the divine sense space, Xiao Chen discovered that he could enter the divine sense space as long as he passed out. He did not know whether it was a coincidence or it would always be like this in the future. Elder Heaven Ancestor, what happened to me? Your body's vitality is deficient, so you entered a state of coma. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. After your divine sense space is opened, you can enter whenever you are unconscious or conscious. So that's how it is. Then why didn't I come in before? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Normally, cultivators in the qi refining stage cannot have a primordial spirit, let alone something like a divine sense C. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. Normally, only cultivators in the foundation establishment stage can form a primordial spirit, and cultivators in the golden core stage can form a divine sense C. Moreover, not all cultivators can do it. However, your situation is a little unexpected. Oh? Why do you say that? Xiao Chen was stunned and asked. Your deep divine sense C was forcefully opened when it was possessed by Xiaoma. Your primordial spirit was also nourished by his aura at the moment of possession and became solid. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. So, I have to thank Xiaoma? Xiao Chen glanced at Xiaoma. Master, I don't dare to take credit. It's just that Master has a great fortune and cultivated the heaven-seizing fortune battle art, so you have a fortune that ordinary people don't have. And Xiaoma quickly said respectfully. Xiao Chen nodded and ignored him. Instead, he sat cross-legged in the divine sense C and began to cultivate to restore his vitality. Xiao Chen discovered that he could also cultivate in a state of unconsciousness. This was a good discovery. He slowly recovered his physical strength and vitality. After an unknown amount of time, the moment Xiao Chen was about to wake up, Xiao Chen suddenly felt the vitality in his meridians become violent at this moment. Then, with a bang, Xiao Chen returned to reality from the divine sense space. He broke through the peak of the 9th level of the qi refinement stage. This breakthrough came too suddenly, but it was not unexpected. This was because Xiao Chen had waited for too long and had not broken through during this period of time. He did not expect that he would suddenly break through after treating Song Huawu's injuries and exhausting his energy. However, this made Xiao Chen a little surprised. In the past, although he had broken through when his physical strength was at its limit, it was only after the battle that he comprehended some opportunities and coincidentally broke through. But now, he had broken through simply by exhausting his physical strength and vitality. It was reasonable to say that it was somewhat impossible. Previously, when he was refining in Xiaoma, he had almost used all his strength. However, no matter the reason, Xiao Qin was happy. This way he was one step closer to the 10th level of the Qi refinement realm. After that was the Foundation Establishment realm. As long as he entered the Foundation Establishment realm, he could use sword kinesis flight and do many things that he could not do before. After waking up, Xiao Qin felt strange. He seemed to be lying on something, and there was a warm feeling. The next moment, Xiao Qin was shocked. He raised his head and let go of his hand, a little embarrassed. Just now, when he was unconscious, he had been lying under Song Huawu's body? What was going on? Song Huawu did not wake him up. This time he was really a little embarrassed. In particular, there was some crystalline unknown liquid hanging on his hand and mouth. This made Xiao Qin even more speechless. What did I do just now? He was unconscious and could not feel the situation outside at all. That. Huawu, I'm sorry, Xiao Qin looked at the thing in his hand and the corner of his mouth. He did not know whether to wipe it clean or not. Wiping it, it seemed like he was despising Song Huawu. Would she be embarrassed? If he did not wipe it, Xiao Qin would be embarrassed. Song Huawu looked at Xiao Qin and her face suddenly turned red. "Oh, it's okay. You're too tired, that's why. Hurry up and take a bath." "I didn't do it on purpose." "Okay, I'll help you wash up too." Xiao Qin looked at the bloodstains under Song Huawu. At this moment, her legs had already recovered, but the bloodstains were still there. "I'll go by myself," Song Huawu quickly said. "There's no place to bathe in the operating theater. If you simply wipe it, it might not be clean." As Xiao Qin said this, he directly activated a water ball and placed it on Song Huawu's body. He said, "I will let the water ball slowly break and let it fall into the water. You can wash it and I'll turn around and not look at you." Oh. Song Huawu was completely shocked. She was not as shocked as she was now when she saw Xiao Qin activate the fireball and the ice ball martial arts skills. Xiao Qin could actually activate a water ball and let it float in the air without breaking. He could even bathe her? What kind of powerful ability was this? Song Huawu quickly got up. Her body was indeed covered in bloodstains. In addition, her lower body was sticky and very uncomfortable. She was also sweating all over, so naturally Song Huawu wanted to wash herself clean. She saw that Xiao Qin was about to turn around, so she said, "Actually, you don't have to turn around. It's fine even if you look at me." Song Huawu did not know if she was psychopathic to say this. She was shocked when she said it. Did she like to be looked at by Xiao Qin? Forget it. I'm only looking at the bottom now. If I look at the top, won't I have to take responsibility? Xiao Qin saw that after Song Huawu finished speaking, she was stunned and at a loss. He knew that she had made a slip of the tongue and was a little embarrassed, so he teased her. "Now you have to take responsibility too." Song Huawu was amused. "No way." Xiao Qin was stunned. "I'm your subordinate. Shouldn't you be responsible for protecting me and standing up for me?" Song Huawu said with a smile. "That's for sure." Xiao Qin was stunned for a moment before he heaved a sigh of relief. Song Huawu took off her clothes. Xiao Qin turned around and slowly controlled the water ball to sprinkle water bit by bit. Song Huawu found that there was nothing wrong with her legs. They had regained their previous flexibility. However, when she was bathing, she wanted Xiao Qin to peek at her. However, she also knew that Xiao Qin was a gentleman and wouldn't do that. Thinking of this, Song Huawu suddenly felt that she was a pervert. Are girls also perverted? Song Huawu also knew that it was impossible between her and Xiao Qin. Never mind that Xiao Qin had a girlfriend. Even if he didn't, Xiao Qin would eventually be irreconcilable with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Yang Tan's matter would eventually be exposed. As long as Xia Zhili was still alive, Xiao Qin couldn't have a peaceful day. Yang Jianan was one of Xia Zhili's generals. It was very convenient for him to associate with him. Now that he was gone, Xia Zhili would definitely be furious. With a sigh, Song Huawu finished bathing. She put on a hospital gown on a rack not far away and then said to Xiao Qin, "Okay, you can turn around. I'm done bathing." However, when she said this, Song Huawu didn't know why she subconsciously slowed down the pace of buttoning her chest. Is she trying to seduce Xiao Qin? She didn't know what she wanted to do. Chapter 580. Xiao Qin came back to his senses and was stunned. He didn't expect that half of Song Huawu's ball was still outside. He quickly looked away and washed his hands and face while there was still some water left in the ball. Song Huawu could not help but feel disappointed when she saw that Xiao Chen had only glanced at her. She was also a little annoyed. What are you trying to do, Song Huawu? Are you possessed by a demon? You really despise yourself. Huawu, let's go out and find a place to talk about the night attack at the research base. Xiao Chen said seriously. As the leader of Team C of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he could not sit back and do nothing. This matter also concerned Su Chuxiao. Although Su Chuxiao said that there would be someone else in charge, he still had to do something. It was for no other reason than to help Song Huawu vent her anger and let him know who did it. He would definitely not let him off easy. Playing with bombs? That was too shameless. Who wouldn't want to play with bombs? Okay. Song Huawu adjusted her emotions and once again turned into the capable girl from before. She walked out of the operating room with Xiao Chen. At the entrance of the operating room, Director Fu and the doctor on duty were stunned. What was going on? Song Huawu, who was supposed to have her leg amputated, could actually walk? If not for the fact that they did not see anyone else enter the operating room, they would have thought that she was Song Huawu's twin sister. It had to be said that this was a miracle in the history of medicine. Xiao Chen also saw the shock of the two, but this could not be replicated. He only said, Luli, your divine water is really useful. It's a pity that there's only a little left. Once it's used up, it'll be gone. Ah, that's right. Luli was also shocked. How the F*CK was this possible? Even if her leg was reattached, it would definitely be difficult for her to move in the future. Even if she did not use a wheelchair, she would still have to use crutches. But now, Song Huawu was walking very dexterously. There was no problem at all. He knew that this was definitely not the credit of the divine water. It was probably because of Granduncle Master. Martial Granduncle is so awesome. However, he was also an astute person. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, he understood what was going on. Xiao Chen didn't want to expose himself. He quickly said, Young Master Chang, you're right. This immortal water was left behind by Martial Granduncle. There's only a little left. It'll be gone once it's used up. Sigh, what a pity. Well, no matter what, thank you very much. Nodding his head, Xiao Chen replied, Xia Shibin, go and talk to President Fu first. Huawu will be discharged soon and we'll wait for you back. All right. Xia Shibin nodded. He stayed behind to deal with the aftermath. Dean Fu's previous decision was against the rules, so Xia Shibin had to complete some of the procedures afterwards. This would also prevent Dean Fu from getting into trouble. Xiao Chen, Song Huawu, and Taoist Luli left the hospital together and got into his Volkswagen Jetta. Luli stood at the side and didn't know if he should get into the car. However, Xiao Chen waved at him and said, You can get in too, Luli. There are no outsiders in the car this time. Regarding his relationship with Song Huawu, Xiao Chen could only classify them as friends. Therefore, Xiao Chen didn't intend to hide some secrets from her. Hearing this, Luli quickly got into the car. Then, he glanced at Song Huawu and said, Martial Granduncle, this must be Martial Grandaunt. What did you say? Song Huawu's eyes widened as she looked at Taoist Luli strangely. Huawu, this Taoist Luli is now my grand disciple. Looking at the surprised Song Huawu, Xiao Chen explained, so they withdrew from the operation against the Su family. How is that possible? Song Huawu was a little puzzled. Back then, this Taoist Luli was beaten up badly. Even if he didn't die and recovered, he couldn't just bear a grudge and become Xiao Chen's disciple, right? It's hard to explain. In short, I'm now Xiao Chang and also his martial granduncle, said Xiao Chen. It's really strange. Why are there so many strange things happening to you? Song Huawu didn't pursue the matter. She could probably tell that Xiao Chen and Luli still had a different relationship. There were some things that she couldn't tell him directly, so she didn't ask further. Yes, Martial Granduncle's ability is very powerful. That immortal water is just a support. Now Martial Grandaunt can already move freely. It's really amazing. Taoist Luli exclaimed, By the way, Martial Granduncle, I still have internal injuries. I ran too fast just now and almost died. Can you help me recover? I'm not asking for that. I just feel that it's faster to run errands for you. Whoosh whoosh. Oh, give me your hand. Xiao Chen didn't refuse. He took Taoist Luli's hand, checked his pulse and checked his injuries. Sure enough, he hadn't fully recovered. Now that he had regained his physical strength and vitality, he began to circulate the mantra to heal Taoist Luli's injuries. Anyway, with Xiaoma here, Taoist Luli wouldn't be able to play any tricks. I'm done. Taoist Luli felt the meridians in his body gradually recover and immediately exclaimed, That's amazing. Martial Granduncle, our heavenly pure monastery must be amazing in the future. Keep a low profile. Xiao Chen frowned and warned, also don't get involved in the matter with Kai Lehu and the others. By the way, let me ask you, the research base was attacked tonight. Do you know what happened? Just now, outside the operating room, Xia Shibin had already told Taoist Luli about the matter. Although he didn't know the relationship between Taoist Luli and Xiao Chen, it was obvious that Taoist Luli came to deliver medicine, so he was probably one of them. So Xia Shibin asked him about the situation tonight, but our heavenly pure monastery didn't participate in it. After you told me, Martial Granduncle, I told Kai Lehu that we quit. Could it be that they did it tonight? It's impossible. How can they have such great ability? If they did, they would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? That's what I'm wondering too. Xiao Chen furrowed his brows and muttered to himself. Tonight's incident was too sudden and too illogical. He found it hard to believe that Kai Lehu and Yorishima Kikuo were the culprits. However, if they were not the culprits, who else could it be? While thinking, Xiao Chen's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Xia Zhili calling. Xiao Chen quickly answered the phone. Jianan, it's me. I heard that Hua Wu was seriously injured and needs to be amputated. I'm sorry for your loss. There are women everywhere. You don't have to hang on to one tree. When Xia Zhili heard the report previously, he knew that Xiao Chang went to the hospital to see Song Hua Wu. Thank you for your concern, Deputy Director Xia. Xiao Chen quickly said, however, Hua Wu is fine. Someone helped here, so Hua Wu was treated. She's fine? Xia Zhili couldn't help but be a little surprised. Xiao Chen nodded and said, it was the people from the Heavenly Pure Temple. They have some ancestral celestial water which is very effective in healing wounds. However, there's only this much left. Unfortunately, there's no more. He was afraid that Xia Zhili would ask for it, so he simply said that there was no more, saving Xia Zhili the trouble of asking. Sure enough, Xia Zhili was a little regretful. There's no more. This is a good thing. However, isn't the Heavenly Pure Temple an enemy? How can they give you celestial water? Oh, I tried to reason with them and move them with their emotions. They had already withdrawn previously. As Taoists, they shouldn't participate in these worldly disputes. After I finished speaking, they deeply believed me and decided to turn over a new leaf. Xiao Chen said. I see. Then you're quite amazing. Xia Zhili nodded after listening and said, well, since Hua Wu is fine, that's great. I called you because I have something to tell you. The matter has been investigated. The Claryman family from Lego Town in Europe should be the ones who did it. They came here illegally, so there's no record of them entering or leaving the country. However, we can find this clue from the people who stayed at the scene. However, although we've investigated the people who did it, we're still a step too late in blocking the main road. They left via private helicopter. They're very familiar with the surrounding terrain of Lan City, so they specifically flew towards the mountainous area. There's no surveillance there, so we don't know where they went. However, one thing is for sure. The other party must have received them in Lan City. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to retreat so quickly. Oh? In other words, they ran away? Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Why did Xia Zhili's tone sound so indifferent, as if the matter had nothing to do with him? Yes. Xia Zhili said, however, Deputy Director Cha is in charge of the security of the research base. This old thing is going to suffer this time. He made such a big mistake. Let's see what he's going to do at the end of the year report. In the past, he always thought that he was more experienced than me, so he always asked to be ranked before me. This time, let's see if he has any face left. Ah. Xiao Chen was really speechless, but he still said, then congratulations, Deputy Director Xia. It's fine as long as we don't have to take responsibility. Well, of course not. You've done your best. You've persuaded Tianqing Monastery to surrender. That's also a great merit. Don't worry, I'll ask for credit for you during the report. Xia Zhili said. Thank you, Deputy Director Xia, Xiao Chen said quickly. There's one more thing. The research base's data has been stolen, so naturally we have to recover it. Therefore, there's a mission now to go to the Klarman family in Lego Town in Europe and recover the research data. Even if we can't recover it, we have to find a way to destroy it. We can't let the data leak out. Xia Zhili said, this mission is very difficult. After all, it's someone else's territory. If our people go there, they might be killed before they can do anything. Therefore, I didn't agree to it. It's up to you. Jianan, I think you're a capable person. What do you think? If you successfully complete this important mission, Your status in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau will not be what it is now. Chapter 581. Oh. Xiao Chen was non-committal. If he completed this mission he would indeed get the opportunity to be promoted, but the one who would benefit the most was Xia Zhili. He was one of his people. He was now desperately trying to improve his ranking in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and Xiao Chen's contribution was his capital. As for Xiao Chen himself, even if he was promoted, it would be Yang Tan who was promoted. It had nothing to do with him. His identity would eventually be exposed and he would not be able to stay for long. Now, in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B, there is still an empty position for the deputy team leader. Although the rank is the same as the team leader of Team C, everyone knows that whoever sits in this position actually goes there to take over. Xia Zhili said, the team leader of Team B was seriously injured a few years ago and is unable to recover. Currently he is only in this position. If there is a suitable person to replace him, he will retire to recuperate. If it was the previous Yang Jianan he would definitely be tempted by this. Xiao Chen knew Yang Jianan's character. This person was very keen on power but Xiao Chen was not. However, if he acted indifferent at this time he would be suspected, so Xiao Chen immediately said, is that so? That's good. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, then I will do it. Help me take this mission. Aha, okay, I knew you would definitely take it. I have already gotten the mission information. I am just waiting for you to nod and I will send it to you, Xia Zhili said with a laugh. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Fortunately he had agreed to it. If he had rejected, Xia Zhili would definitely suspect him. Xiao Chen continued to ask, then wouldn't the research materials be spread after he returns? Even if I go there, I won't be able to control it. One had to know that electronic information was very easy to copy. A simple copy could make many backups. That won't happen because the information is encrypted. It is an encrypted chip. If it is not decrypted, no data can be read at all. Moreover, normal brute force cracking won't work. The chip has a self-destruction device. Brute force cracking will melt and destroy itself. Xia Zhili said, in the short term, there is no need to worry about the information being leaked. I see. Are you sure that the information is with the Claryman family? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. I'm not sure yet. If you want to accept this mission, you need to investigate in detail before you can act, Xia Zhili said. Alright, I got it. Xiao Chen nodded and said, I'll take this task. If there are any new developments, please let me know immediately. Thank you. Haha, well said, well said. When Xia Zhili heard Xiao Chang agree so readily, he was very happy. This way he would be even more qualified when he reported his work. After hanging up the phone, Song Huawu asked, how was it? Did you agree to some mission? Well, it's like this. Xiao Chen repeated Xia Zhili's words. On the other side, before Song Huawu could say anything, Taoist Luli slapped his thigh and shouted, Aya, damn I know. This person from the Claryman family contacted us before and wanted to join us. At that time, we did not agree because the other party had not come yet. They only contacted us through special channels from overseas. I know. This time they are led by a person named Vikings. It must be Kai Lehu and Vikings working together. I know that Midnight Island Kikuo has a map of the research base, and Kai Lehu has been operating in Lan City for many years. It would be easy to escape through them. With the few of them working together, there should be no suspense. Xiao Chen frowned. Sure enough, it was related to Kai Lehu and Midnight Island Kikuo. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen said, Luli, call Mount Tai. Do you dare to follow me to the Wave Club to destroy the place? Aya, what the F*** CK, kill them. Just one word from Marshal Granduncle. Taoist Luli quickly said, I'll call Master now. As he spoke, Taoist Luli took out his mobile phone and sent a Weixin to Daoist Taishan. Xiao Chen said Taoist Luli and Daoist Taishan are really advanced. They both know how to use Weixin. On Xiao Chen's side he called Wang Fantian. There's a fight. Come to the entrance of the First People's Hospital. I'm coming. Wang Fantian quickly replied. The next morning at dawn, Daoist Taishan and Wang Fantian arrived. Wang Fantian drove his sports car. The two cars, one in front and one behind, arrived at the entrance of the Wave Club under the command of Taoist Lu Li. The construction of this club is quite luxurious. Xiao Chen glanced at the club and curled his lips. TSK, especially this door. The decorations at the door, the bonsai, the stone carvings, the antique style. Smash it for me. Taoist Luli was about to come over and flatter them, saying that it was beautiful. However, when he heard Xiao Chen's last sentence, he almost spat it out. Fantian is here. Wang Fantian loved this kind of work the most. He picked up a big tortoise stone carving at the door. This stone carving was at least a few £1,000, but Wang Fantian picked it up as if he was picking up a ball of cotton. Whoosh, he smashed it at the antique vermilion door. Bang! The door didn't break open, but it directly smashed a hole. It was even more miserable. The door was directly destroyed. The loud noise awakened the martial artists in the Wave Club. In an instant, the inside was brightly lit. Then, many martial arts instructors and disciples in training clothes rushed out. Who dares to smash the place here? The person who took the lead was the chief instructor of the Wave Club, whose strength was second only to Kai Lehu. He had the strength of a half-step martial master. Usually he was an arrogant existence, but today when he saw the big stone tortoise on the ground, his eyes twitched. This big tortoise weighed thousands of pounds. Even a martial master would find it hard to lift it, let alone a martial artist. But now it was smashed on the door. Not only was the door broken, but the big tortoise was also broken. What a huge force. Where are Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin? Let the two of them come out. Taoist Luli had become a lackey at this time. He stepped forward and ordered arrogantly. And? Taoist Luli? The chief instructor was stunned. When he saw that the person who came out was Taoist Luli, he was immediately stunned. Although he was powerful and was an expert martial artist at the peak of the 10th level of internal strength, he was not an opponent of Taoist Luli, who was a martial master. He subconsciously took 2 steps back. Taoist Luli, what do you mean by this? Did our Inspur Club offend your Tianqing Taoist temple? You didn't offend us, but I'm here to help today. Taoist Luli said, we are just supporting characters today. Hurry up and let Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin come out to die. Help. Taoist Luli, we have never had any grudges. How can you help others? That's not right, right? The chief instructor said with some confusion. Damn it, why do you have so much to say? I asked you to look for Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin. I'm not going to talk to you. You are too lowly. Taoist Luli said angrily. You. The chief instructor was furious, but he was no match for Taoist Luli. He did not dare to make a move and could only pant. At this time an angry voice sounded. It was Kai Lehu's voice. Taoist Luli, aren't you going too far? I didn't provoke you, but you came to find trouble with us? Even if we don't cooperate now, we were on the same side before, right? You actually helped Xiao Chang to find trouble with me? Xiao Chang, you won the martial arts challenge last time. We also kept our promise and didn't find trouble with the Su family. However, do you really think that the Kai family is a pushover? Do you still care about the rules of the martial arts world? Kai Wujin said angrily. However, although he said that, he really didn't dare to do anything to Xiao Chen. He, Taoist Luli, and Yakushima Kikuo were no match for Xiao Chang. Although there was a sneak attack, Taoist Luli and Taoist Taishan were on Xiao Chang's side. There was also Wang Fangtian, who was a fool. The father and son were no match for Xiao Chang at all. Don't say useless things. You are really a pushover. Xiao Chen smiled coldly and waved his hand. Then he said, you didn't touch the Su family? Why did you join forces with the Clariman family to attack the research base? You even seriously injured Song Huawu? Do you dare to say that you did not participate? This. Kai Lehu hesitated. Of course not. What does this have to do with us? That was done by the Clariman family. Did you find the wrong person? Kai Wujin had made up his mind. He couldn't admit to this matter. There were still people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau present. However, he was also puzzled. Wasn't Song Huawu crippled by the explosion? Why is she still standing here perfectly fine? Could it be that Vikings was bragging to me? That guy is a liar. If that's the case, it would be unwise to let him take the encrypted chip away. I didn't find the wrong person. Wang Fangtian, you go and beat him until he admits it. Xiao Qin ordered Wang Fangtian. You are making a confession under torture. Is this how the Supernatural Investigation Bureau handles cases? Kai Lehu was shocked. This Xiao Chang is going to be unreasonable. Huh. Xiao Qin was a little amused. Who told you that I am from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Have you forgotten that I am Tian Sour's boyfriend? I know. You were beaten silly by Wang Fangtian last time. You. Kai Lehu was stunned. After thinking about it, it seemed that Xiao Chang really wasn't from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Luli, Taishan, the two of you go and help too. The two of you, one on the left and one on the right, hold Kai Wujin and beat him to death. Anyway, you don't have to be responsible if you kill him, Xiaoqin said. Hee okay. Tai Shan and Lu Li responded and were about to hold Kai Wujin. Kai Lehu was shocked and wanted to stop them. You are not following the rules. Don't move. Xiaoqin roared and pointed at Kai Lehu. Why don't you try moving again? Do you believe that I will kill you first? Chapter 582. Jie. Only then did Kai Lehu realize that Xiaoqin was still glaring at him. He quickly stopped in his tracks. On the other side, Tai Shan and Lu Li had already blocked Kai Wujin from the left and right. Wang Fantian had already been injured. With each step, Kai Wujin was beaten until he vomited blood. However, it was 3 against 1. No matter how strong Kai Wujin was, he was no match for them. He could only take the beating. Hey, can you guys stop fighting? If you continue, someone will die. Kai Lehu was fuming with anger, but there was nothing he could do. Don't talk about those useless things. Where are the people from the Claryman family? Xiaoqin asked. This, how would the Kai family know? You should be from the Claryman family. Kai Lehu said with a bitter face. Oh, if you don't know, then beat him to death. If you know, consider it a meritorious service and I won't beat you to death. Xiaoqin said indifferently, now I'm looking for you to fight. If you win, you can avoid death. If you don't win, then just wait to be beaten to death. Kai Lehu was a little dumbfounded. Isn't this 2F** king unreasonable? There is such a person. Really? He looked at Kai Wujin, who was about to be beaten to death, and his face turned green. Wang Fantian continued to beat Kai Wujin to death, and Kai Wujin's internal organs were about to spit out. He was about to die and his eyes were already rolling back. Kai Lehu gritted his teeth and could only say, okay, stop, I'll talk. Oh, don't stop first. Continue beating him. I want to see if what he said is useful. If not, continue beating him to death. Xiaoqin said. Wang Fantian continued to beat him to death. I've already said it. Hurry up and stop. Let me tell you, Wujin is an inner disciple of the martial arts world. If he is beaten to death, you will not be able to get away with it. Kai Lehu threatened. Okay, hurry up and say it. If you don't, he might die. Xiaoqin waved his hand impatiently. If he dies, it will be because of you. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I'll talk. Kai Lehu said with a sad face. I'll talk, okay? Yes, it was our Kai family who helped them leave, but they also took away the encrypted chip. They should be out at sea now, heading back to Lego Town in Europe. Oh, that's enough. Stop fighting. Xiaoqin waved his hand, indicating that Wang Fantian could stop. Actually, don't be fooled by Wang Fangtian's severe beating. This kid had a sense of propriety. He wouldn't kill them, but he would scare them a little. Before Wang Fangtian stopped, he kicked Kai Wujin's crotch, causing him to cry out in pain. You. Kai Lehu was furious. We're just accomplices. Now that we've said it, we haven't gotten any benefits, so please let us go. What about Yorishima Kikuo? Xiaoqin asked. Is he the same? You got nothing? Yes, they're only responsible for the map. There's an insider in the research base. The specific execution is done by Vikings from the Claryman family. Kai Lehu said truthfully. Okay, then let's talk about something else, said Xiaoqin. What else is there? I've said everything that needs to be said. Kai Lehu asked nervously. The compensation for the defeat, Tianqing Monastery has already given me 1 million. Now it's your turn, said Xiaoqin. This isn't very good, right? Kai Lehu said, we're very poor. Yeah. Xiaoqin stared. What about the money you gave to Taoist Lu Li before? He has already given me 1 million. It's your turn. I'll discuss it with you now. If you don't have it, I'll let someone go in and move the things. Take whatever is valuable. Let's talk about it after we've collected 1 million. Ugh. 1 million, I don't have it. Kai Lehu said quickly, I thought you wanted a lot. I'll give it to you now. As Kai Lehu spoke, he got someone to take out a check, write a 1 million check and give it to Xiaoqin. At least you're sensible, but it's not empty, right? If you can't exchange it, your house will catch fire tomorrow. Xiaoqin took the check and glanced at it. No, I really can't. Kai Lehu said quickly, frightened. Oh, if that's the case, let's go. Xiaoqin nodded and left with his people. Kai Lehu quickly picked up Kai Wujin and asked, Wujin, how are you? Are you all right? These people are too overbearing and vicious. However, he had never thought that all of this was because they provoked Xiaoqin first. If they hadn't wanted to harm the Su family, How could these things have happened? Dad, I'm fine. Kai Wujin shook his head and said weakly, I know. This Wang Fantian just wanted to scare and torture me, but he didn't want my life. Although I seem to be seriously injured, I won't die. That's good. Kai Lehu breathed a sigh of relief. Kai Wujin was the hope and pillar of the Kai family. If anything happened to him, it would be too late for regrets. I won't let it go just like that. Once I hear about it, I will find a chance to report it to the sect and let them stand up for me. Kai Wujin said with hatred, I have never suffered such a big loss before. And if you have the chance, you will naturally take revenge. Kai Lehu nodded. But for now, don't provoke him. I understand. I'm not an impulsive person. Kai Wujin said. Xiaochen took Song Huawu, Taoist Lu Li, Taoist Tai Shan, and Wang Fantian to discuss the next plan with Song Huawu. Xiaochen, are you really going to Claryman Town? Song Huawu said, that's their territory. You really shouldn't have accepted this mission. It's not that I didn't want to accept it, but I couldn't refuse it. You saw the situation at the time. Xiaochen smiled bitterly. But this matter, the sooner the better. Are you going with me? And of course I'm going with you. Song Huawu nodded. It's just that my strength may be lower. That's fine. You're more familiar with firearms than me. This time we don't necessarily have to fight head-on. Since the other party used those firearms, don't you plan to return them? Xiaochen said with a smile. When the time comes, we'll blow them up. This, using firearms on a large scale, isn't very good, right? Song Huawu was a little hesitant. It's their territory anyway. Who cares? Xiaochen didn't care. He was never a person who was afraid of trouble. Since he was going to do it, he would do it in a big way. At most he would just leave. Yang Tan would be the scapegoat for him. Song Huawu nodded. Then I'll go back and prepare. I need to prepare too. Xiaochen looked at the time. It was almost time to go to school. He prepared to go to school and bid farewell to Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring. The mission ended here. He believed that Su Chuxia should know what happened. Xiaochen parked the car downstairs. After waiting for a while, Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring arrived. Both of them had a strange expression on their faces. For the first time, Tian Xiaoring didn't nag when he got into the car. Su Chuxia quietly opened the car door and got in. Morning. Xiaochen started the car. Su Chuxia nodded. Last night? You should know about the research base. I have to go. Xiaochen tried his best to maintain a smile, but for some reason he still felt a little melancholic. He didn't spend much time with Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring, but everyone got along well, especially Tian Xiaoring. Xiaochen even pretended to be her boyfriend for a few days. Why are you leaving? You haven't caught up with Sister Xiaoring yet, right? You haven't confessed yet. Tian Xiaoring pouted and was a little unhappy. Xiaoring Xiaochang has a mission. You can't play with us. Don't delay it, Su Chuxia said to her. Although she was comforting her, Su Chuxia herself was a little melancholic. The research base's data has been stolen. I have no choice. I have to go to Europe's Clarman Town and retrieve the data. Xiaochen said, this is my new mission. The mission to protect you here will end at the same time. Oh? Su Chuxia nodded. Thank you for all this time. I've troubled you. Thank you very much. It's okay. This is also my duty. Xiaochen smiled and said, Xiaoring, don't worry. Before I leave I will confess to you. But you have to let me prepare. Ah, that's more like it. Tian Xiaoring was happy again. Then, after you return from the Clarman family, will you still come to Lan City's New Moon College to study? It shouldn't be possible. Xiaochen shook his head. I don't even know what my next mission is. Okay. Sister Xiaoring is so disappointed. Someone just confessed and your boyfriend is going to disappear. Tian Xiaoring said. Didn't you say it was fake? Su Chuxia said, Xiaoring, why did you make it real? Ah, that's not it. Tian Xiaoring quickly shook her head. The car went all the way to school. Xiaochen arrived at his class. He could have stopped going to school today. The reason he came was to say goodbye to his desk mate, Ling Qianxue. Although Xiaochen suspected that Ling Qianxue was Ling Qianxue, Ling Qianxue's tone did not seem to be fake. Xiaochen wondered if he had made a mistake. Was this just a coincidence? If not for Ling Qianxue was still a good girl. The two of them got along quite well, so Xiaochen planned to say goodbye to her. However, Ling Qianxue had not arrived yet. Xiaochen sat alone in his seat. He took out his mobile phone and used Weixin to create a group of followers. He added Taoist Lu Li, Taoist Tai Shan, Xia Shibin and Wang Fantian. He sent a message to these followers. I want to confess to a girl today. Can any of you help me plan it more romantic? Boss, you will definitely be a hero if you jump from a building. Awesome. Wang Fantian was the first to reply. Chapter 583. Boss, give her a bottle of beautifying and nourishing celestial water. It will definitely be effective. Daoist Tai Shan said. Aya F *ck boss, just send her to a hotel and then Aya F *ck. You know, Daoist Luli said. F *ck off. Xiaoqin replied. Boss, I'm good at this. Xia Shibin came. Girls like romance. Don't worry, I'll prepare a candle array, a sea of flowers and a hot air balloon for you. I guarantee it will be super romantic and successful. And Xia Shibin's idea is not bad. Xiaoqin thought, this guy used to hang out with Yang Tan, it seems like he did this kind of thing a lot. Is that so? Then boss, I'll go prepare. Xia Shibin said quickly when he heard it. And go. I'll confess to Tian Sour. Xiaoqin said, oh right, can it be done at noon? No problem. Xia Shibin said. However, after Xiaoqin arranged everything, Ling Qinxue still didn't come to school when it was almost time for class. This made Xiaoqin a little surprised. The homeroom teacher, Teacher Qin, walked into the classroom and said to everyone, let me tell you a piece of news. Ling Qinxue has left New Moon Academy because of the change of her parents' jobs. She has transferred schools today. Everyone was a little disappointed and surprised after hearing this, especially the boys. Ling Qinxue was very cute. She was the goddess after Su Chuxia and Tian Sour. Some boys had already secretly fallen in love with her, but they didn't expect Ling Qinxue to transfer schools again in just a few days. This is a letter that Ling Qinxue asked me to give to her desk mate, Xiao Chang. Because she was in a hurry, she couldn't personally thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her these days, so she wrote a letter to express her gratitude. Teacher Qin said, Xiao Chang, come and get the letter. Xiao Qin was a little surprised. He didn't expect Ling Qinxue to transfer schools. Could it be, she is Ling Qinxue? Because Night Island's mission is over, there's no need for her to stay here anymore? Xiaoqin took the letter. The letter was sealed. Obviously, Teacher Qin didn't peek at it. It could be seen that she was a very open-minded teacher. She wouldn't peek at a student's letter. Xiaoqin returned to his seat. Professor Qin also began to teach, while Xiaoqin opened Ling Qinshue's letter. Although the letter was very long, it was basically to thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her during this period of time, as well as some of the things that had happened in the past few days. After Xiaoqin finished reading the letter, he was even more suspicious. Was this Ling Qinxue really Ling Qinxue? It couldn't be, right? Otherwise, that Ling Qinxue from before had always wanted to kill him, and this Ling Qinxue even said goodbye to him. With Ling Qinshue's personality, she shouldn't have done this. As he flipped through the letter in his hand, Xiaoqin suddenly froze. Because, at the beginning of the letter, there was actually a sentence that was hidden in the letter. Xiao Changjuan, someone wants to kill you, leave this place quickly. Xiaoqin was stunned. He didn't think that this was a coincidence because this was too much of a coincidence. He looked at it carefully and it was definitely done by Ling Qinxue on purpose. Because the number of words in each paragraph of the letter was not very neat, it should be to deliberately put together this hidden sentence, so there was no way to maintain the neat format. However, after seeing this sentence, Xiaoqin felt even more that this Ling Qinxue was not Ling Qinxue. That Ling Qinxue wanted to kill him, and with someone helping her, she would probably be even more happy. Why would she remind him to let him leave? It was simply impossible. It seemed that he was thinking too much. There were probably many people with the same name in Japan, and their surnames were all different, so he didn't try to link them together. He just sighed and he had to leave. Ling Qinxue would probably become a passerby in his life. Perhaps after some time, when he thought about it, he would have a special memory. After putting away the letter, Xiaoqin laid on the table to rest. After tossing and turning last night, he still had to have a good rest. As for Ling Qinxue asking him to leave, Xiaoqin didn't care. There were many people who wanted to kill him, so there was no need for him to hide. In the blink of an eye, it was noon break. However, some students who had finished classes early left the school building, and there were waves of cheers and exclamations coming from below. Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring planned to go to the cafeteria to eat as usual, but when they walked out of the school building, they saw a large group of people surrounding the field in front of the school building. They walked over curiously, but when the surrounding people saw Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring, they all consciously made way for them. This made the two of them very curious. Why did they make way for them? However, when they walked in front of them they were stunned. This was because this was a flower candles array. In the middle of the flower candles array, there was a hot air balloon with a banner on it that said, "Souring, I love you." Holy sh*t, it can't be? Is this for real? A nouveau riche proposed to Sister Souring. Tian Souring looked at everything in front of him in surprise. Xiao Chang, right? Su Chuxia said. Aya, can't you break Sister Souring's beautiful dream? Sister Souring still doesn't know it's Xiao Chang. Tian Souring's eyes were full of little stars. But Xiao Chang is still fake. Aya, you're satisfied that he's fake. Su Chuxia curled her lips. She felt that Tian Souring was not satisfied. It was already very good that Xiao Chang was like this because of her, a fake girlfriend. At the end of the day, Xiao Chang was just a special agent who protected her. He even cooperated with Souring's nonsense. What was there for Souring to be dissatisfied with? Souring, be my girlfriend. Xiao Chen carried a bouquet of flowers and walked in front of Tian Souring. He handed it to her. Ah. Tian Souring rubbed her eyes. Is it true? You actually like Sister Souring so much. Sister Souring is so touched. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Didn't she ask him to do all this? However, at this time, in order not to spoil the atmosphere, Xiao Chen still said, Yes, can you promise me? Tian Souring didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked very reserved. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. The students who were watching from the side all spontaneously shouted at this time. Tian Souring took the flowers and lowered her head shyly. She humphed lightly. Up. The students who were watching from the side continued to shout. Come on. Xiao Chen opened his arms. Tian Souring handed the flowers in her hands to Su Chuxia. Then she lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen hugged Tian Souring. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly, but she didn't struggle. Instead, she buried her head in Xiao Chen's arms and hugged Xiao Chen's waist. Kiss. 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 The students who were watching from the side wanted to see the world in chaos. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly in Xiao Chen's arms. There's no need for that. It's quite sour and shy. Xiao Chen smiled as he helped her out of the predicament. However, what Xiao Chen didn't expect was that Tian Souring suddenly raised her head. Her lips gently pecked Xiao Chen's lips before moving away. Then she broke free from Xiao Chen's embrace and quickly left. Su Chuxia glanced at Xiao Chen and went to chase after Tian Souring. Xiao Chen didn't chase after her. Instead, he sighed slightly. He didn't know if Tian Souring was playing around or what, but he also had to leave. He quickly walked out of the crowd. Everyone thought that he also went to chase after Tian Souring. In fact, Xiao Chen went to the parking lot. Xia Shibin would help him settle the procedures to leave the school. He had to prepare to go to the Claryman family in Lego Town. Souring, why did you take the initiative to kiss him just now? Have you really fallen for Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia's expression was very serious. She caught up with Tian Souring and asked her. Of course not. Do you think Sister Souring will fall so easily? Tian Souring said. However, the happiness on her face made Su Chuxia feel that Tian Souring was lying. Then why did you take the initiative to kiss Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia asked. Aya, isn't that the situation back then? Everyone was shouting that I couldn't kiss him. Tian Souring scratched her head and said awkwardly, Then Sister Souring got excited and couldn't help it. I think you're just in love, right? Su Chuxia carefully observed Tian Souring's expression. She felt that there must be something wrong with Tian Souring. How could that be? Tian Souring quickly said. Souring, let me tell you, Xiao Chang is only here to carry out a mission and will leave very soon. There's no result even if you like him. Don't fall for it yourself. Su Chuxia reminded her. Although Xiao Chang was a good person, Su Chuxia had to admit that Xiao Chang and Tian Souring weren't suitable. They could be friends, but as a boyfriend, I know. Also, isn't Souring going to be taken back by the family? Tian Souring said with a smile. Chuxia, don't worry. Sister Souring knows the severity of the situation. Okay. Su Chuxia nodded. Control your emotions. Okay. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Tian Souring said. Why do you only know how to date other than eating? This school is for you. Su Chuxia was really speechless. Hey, what date? That's fake. Tian Souring quickly explained. I don't care. Su Chuxia shook her head. However, what Su Chuxia and Tian Souring didn't expect was that Xiao Chen actually didn't appear again in the afternoon. Teacher Chen, the homeroom teacher, announced an explosive news. Student Xiao Chang also transferred schools due to some reasons. I really didn't expect that within a day, 2 students in our class would transfer schools. Teacher Chin said with a sigh. Xiao Chang was a good student. Originally, she wanted to use Xiao Chang to increase her teaching reputation, but she didn't expect Xiao Chang to transfer schools at this time. Chapter 584. Could it be that Xiao Chang and Ling Chenxue had arranged to transfer schools together? Teacher Chin shook his head when he thought of this. If that was the case, Ling Chenxue wouldn't have asked him to bring her a letter. It was obviously not arranged. It was just a coincidence. At this moment, many of the students who had experienced the confession at noon understood that Xiao Chang might have already known that he was going to transfer schools. Therefore, before he left, he confessed to his beloved goddess, Tian Shaoring. Seeing Tian Shaoring's dazed expression, the students sighed. Sister Shaoring had fallen for him. Shaoring, what's wrong? Su Chuxia also felt that something was wrong with Tian Shaoring's mood. Nothing. Tian Shaoring didn't know why, but she suddenly felt like crying. She leaned on the table and said weakly, Chuxia, I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest for a while. You don't want Xiao Chang to leave? Su Chuxia also noticed something. Chuxia, do you want to? Tian Shaoring asked in return. I don't want to either. Su Chuxia was stunned. She realized that during this period of time, Xiao Chang's days were quite good. They were happy every day and he often cooked and sent them to and from school. Sigh, life is full of parting. Tian Shaoring sighed with vicissitudes. Sister Shaoring's relationship ended before it even started. You really took it seriously? Su Chuxia asked suspiciously. Then shouldn't I invest a little more? Tian Shaoring said. Forget it, I'll just treat it as a breakup. Long live the breakup. On the other side, Xiao Chen had already gone to the airport with Song Huawu. To the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it was very easy to add 2 extra plane tickets at the last minute. The 2 of them used aliases this time. Xiao Chen's name was Yang Tan, and Song Huawu's name was Hua Xiaowu. The 2 of them were a couple from Xia Kingdom. They were going to Lego Town for a vacation and needed to transfer a few planes to get to Lego Town. Both of them were expert cultivators. Therefore, even though it was a long journey, they didn't seem very tired. After transferring several planes and finally taking a train, the 2 of them arrived near Lego Town. However, it wasn't Lego Town yet. Because Lego Town was located on an island, if the 2 of them wanted to go there, they had to take a boat. As for the boats, there was only one trip every morning. They would leave early in the morning and return late at night. At this time there were no more boats. Thus, the 2 of them booked a room at a place called Masri Restaurant, on the opposite shore to rest. It was not unusual for the 2 of them to share a room. In order to prevent their identities from being exposed during a mission, they had to endure it no matter what. Moreover, with the relationship between Xiao Chen and Song Huawu, there was no need to hide it at all. They had seen what they should see and they had seen what they should not see. Xiao Chen, I want to take a shower. Do you want to go first or should I? Song Huawu came to the room and lay down on the bed lazily. Her physical strength was not as good as Xiao Chen's, so she was still a little tired. Do you want to join us? Xiao Chen teased. Sure. Song Huawu smiled and said, Do you dare? I don't dare. Forget it. Xiao Chen shook his head. I knew it. Song Huawu stood up and walked to the bathroom. In the end she even said, Coward. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Song Huawu had been teasing him along the way. Did she think that she was not afraid of anything after being seen by him? Actually, Song Huawu was not joking. She really hoped that Xiao Chen would come and peek. She did not know if there was something wrong with her. She only knew that in the past, Yang Jianan always wanted to peek at her, but she was always on guard. But now she wanted to peek at Xiao Chen. Was it because Yang Jianan had messed with her that she was mentally abnormal? After taking a shower, Song Huawu came out in a bathrobe. She did not wear anything inside. She went to bed. Xiao Chen glanced at her and said, Huawu, do you really think that I don't dare to push you? Oh. Song Huawu responded and looked at the magazine on the bedside. She was proficient in many languages, so she had no difficulty reading. This made Xiao Chen very helpless. He could only go and take a shower. After Xiao Chen took a shower, Song Huawu was still on the bed. He did not know what she was doing. She did not watch TV properly. She took the remote control and changed the channel. What are you doing? Asked Xiao Chen. I heard that foreign hotels have erotic channels. I'm looking for one, said Song Huawu. Why are you looking for that? Xiao Chen was stunned. He thought to himself, I didn't see it. After interacting with her for a while, I realized that Song Huawu was a sultry type. To watch it with you. Song Huawu said matter-of-factly. All right, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. Are you coming? Asked Xiaoqin. I've been hungry for a long time. Song Huawu jumped out of bed and put on her clothes. She took off her pajamas and wore nothing underneath. She did not care that Xiaoqin was beside her. Xiaoqin was stunned. He turned around and said, Huawu, can't you avoid it? Aren't we a couple? Song Huawu asked. But isn't that a disguise in front of outsiders? Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. The details determine success or failure. If you are usually secretive, you might make a mistake at a critical moment. Song Huawu said, as an excellent agent, you can't have complicated thoughts. We do all this for the mission. Alright, then did you and Yang Jianan carry out missions like this in the past? Asked Xiaoqin. In his dreams, said Song Huawu. Xiaoqin didn't understand Song Huawu's logic. After putting on their clothes, the two of them went downstairs side by side. There was a restaurant downstairs. Xiaoqin and Song Huawu walked in. Xiaoqin didn't know the language here. At this moment there were many people in the restaurant. Xiaoqin looked around and found an empty seat to sit down. However, a waiter came over and said something to him. He didn't understand, so he turned to look at Song Huawu. Song Huawu began to communicate with the waiter on the side. After a while, the waiter nodded and took out the menu. What does he want to do? Asked Xiaoqin. Nothing. He said that this table has been reserved, but half an hour has passed since the reservation, so he let us use it first, said Song Huawu. Oh. Xiaoqin didn't mind. Instead, he looked at the pictures on the menu and casually ordered a few things. Song Huawu added a few more and the waiter went to work. The efficiency of serving the dishes was very fast. Not long after, the dishes were served. Just as Xiaoqin and Song Huawu were about to enjoy them, a loud noise came from not far away. Xiaoqin frowned. He thought that someone was drinking and causing trouble, but he didn't expect that the noisy person would walk straight towards Xiaoqin's table. The leader was a young man. Behind him were 3 young men and 2 female companions. They came over and shouted in the local language, "Who has taken my place? You're quite bold. Hurry up and get them to give it up. Otherwise, you know the consequences." What did they say? Xiaoqin asked Song Huawu. It seems to be the person who made the reservation. Let the waiter settle it. It has nothing to do with us. Song Huawu shook her head. She didn't want to cause trouble. Xiaoqin nodded and glanced at the leading man. This man had fair skin and was well dressed. He should be a rich man, but this had nothing to do with Xiaoqin. After looking at him, Xiaoqin continued eating. However, he hated this person a little. He didn't come at the time he made the reservation. Why was there so much trouble when he was late? However, there was no need for him to confront him directly. The restaurant would deal with this matter. Sure enough, the waiter kept talking to the young man. However, when the young man saw that Xiaoqin didn't get up to give up his seat and even pretended not to hear and continued eating, he immediately flew into a rage. Ramit was the young master of the Claremont family, the largest family in the vicinity. He was a domineering existence in the vicinity of Lego Town. Didn't people quickly scram when they saw him? At this moment, this person pretended not to see him and completely ignored him. How could he tolerate it? Ramit was furious. Wasn't this person obviously looking down on him? He didn't care about the waiter's words anymore. He walked over and lifted Xiaoqin's tablecloth. All the food on it fell to the ground. There was a series of crackling sounds. However, Xiaoqin and Song Huawu were both warriors and cultivators. They weren't affected at all. Not even a drop of vegetable soup splashed on them. I'm sorry. The waiter scowled miserably and hurried over to apologize to Xiaoqin and Song Huawu. However, he spoke in English this time, as if he knew Xiaoqin didn't understand his language. Can I arrange another seat for you two right away? This seat was reserved by young Master Ramit. You see, what's this person's job? Xiaoqin pointed at Ramit and asked in English. If it weren't for the fact that he was on a mission, he would have sent this person flying with a slap. Just as the waiter was about to explain, one of Ramit's companions stepped forward. Kid, you're new here, right? Don't you know who has the final say in this sea? This is Ramit, the eldest young master of the Claremont family, the biggest gang here. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Otherwise, I guarantee that you won't be able to leave this sea. The man pointed at Xiaoqin and shouted arrogantly. Claremont family? You're from the Claremont family? Xiaoqin was shocked. He didn't expect to meet the person he was looking for here. He immediately calculated in his heart. If he could capture this person, he could get a lot of valuable information from him. Otherwise, he would be in the dark about the Claryman family. Thinking of this, a smile flashed across the corner of his mouth. Kid, do you want to die? How dare you smile? Do you want to die? When the man saw that Xiao Chen was actually smiling, he was extremely angry. Did this person really not know how terrifying the Claryman family was? Oh, sorry. We'll leave now. Sorry. Since Xiao Chen had made up his mind, he naturally had to show weakness first. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.